Oh, wow. I don't know how to get to the my November.
Good evening. And welcome to Marque City Council. We have a little business left from our 4 o'clock executive session. Bear with us. It'll take us about 3 minutes. And then we'll proceed into our regular meeting, which I'm sure all of you are here for. Council, we are back in our special meeting from our recess at 6:13. Item 4, actions taken from executive session. 4.1, section 551.074, personnel matters. Deliberate on the employment, evaluation, duties, and discipline of a public officer or employee. City clerk. Council, I will entertain a motion.
Mayor, by way of action, I don't think that we need to take any action on the evaluation part. I feel that the city clerk has dutifully responded to the requirements of her position. She's grown in the position. She's complied with the requests that we made and responded. And accordingly, I just ask that we continue the relationship that we have with the city manager and that she be complimented for the improvements that she's made in her position.
Sounds like you are recommending that we take no action.
Yes, sir.
Council, I will entertain a motion. If there is no motion, then we will take no action. One more time, I will entertain a motion from council. Hearing none, we are taking no action. We are moving forward now to item 4.2, section 551.074, personnel matters. Deliberate the appointment, employment, evaluation, reassignment, duties, discipline, or dismissal of a public officer or employee. City manager. Council, I will entertain a motion.
Mayor, once again, I'm going to move on this one that we extend the contract, the existing contract for our city manager. Once again, the improvements that have I appreciate the improvements that the city manager has made in his position and the growth associated with that. Also, as part of this, my motion in terms of extending the contract, I want to have specific performance of Mr. City Attorney in terms of the terms of the employment agreement that we have with our city manager. And ask that the finance and legal follow up on that area.
When you say performance, you mean?
I mean, the contract terms, that maybe use the wrong word, performance, but in terms of specific enforcement of the contract provisions that we have in that employment agreement.
You want me and finance to meet to discuss any potential perceived ambiguity.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Is that a motion, Mayor Pro Tem?
Yes, sir. That's a motion.
Kiara, would you reread us the motion, please?
I have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem to extend the city manager's current existing contract and for finance and legal to review any ambiguity in the contract terms.
In that motion to extend, is there a length of time that you would add? Is it for a year? You said extend. Perpetual?
Well, perpetual, I don't think, but God knows, I'm not going to be here perpetually, but
And we would evaluate year to year.
I think it's an evaluation year to year.
Very good.
Consistent with.
That's the motion. Is there a second?
I will second that.
Is there any further discussion as it relates to the city manager's role or his contract? Hearing none, we'll call for a vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? We are now up to item 5. I will entertain a motion to adjourn this special meeting. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Special meeting is adjourned at
6:16.
At 6:16. We are now moving into our regularly scheduled meeting. Again, good afternoon. The City of Lamarque, good evening, excuse me. City of Lamarque, City Council regular agenda, December 11th, 2023. Notice is hereby given that the City Council of the City of Lamarque, Texas will conduct a regular meeting on December 11th, 2023, beginning at 6 p.m. in the council chambers at 1109 Bayou Road, Lamarque, Texas, as well as via video conference hosted through Zoom. In accordance with section 551.127B of the Texas Local Government Code, the presiding officer and a quorum of the Lamarque City Council intend to be and will physically be present at 1109B Bayou Road, Lamarque, Texas. This location will be open to the public and the meeting will be broadcast at this location on Channel 16 and via YouTube. The council will meet for the purpose of considering the following agenda. The meeting has been called to order. Kiara, would you give us a roll call, please?
Yes, sir. Councilmember District A,
Present.
Councilmember District B,
Present.
Councilmember District C, Councilmember District D,
Present.
and Mayor.
Present. Thank you, Kiara. We will now have our invocation and pledge. I'd like to ask Councilwoman Yancey to lead us in our invocation, and Councilwoman Allred, if she would be so inclined to lead us in our pledge tonight. Let's stand if you're able.
All right, let's all bow our heads and close our eyes. Father, we come to you on this night, thanking you, God, for your mercy and your grace. God, we thank you for the liberty to stand and represent our democracy. We thank you for our great nation of America. We thank you for the children that are here, their voices, their smiles, their laughter. And what we do for them. We ask, Lord, that you would help us to keep our city safe and to keep our leaders safe. We pray that you will help us to get along. And we pray, Lord, that you will give us the wisdom that we need to make the best decisions. And now we ask that you cover us and that you cover our great city of Lamarque and that you bless us and that you show us so that we can represent not only what it means to be a good American, but also what it means to have great faith. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, good job, guys. Good job. Well, we are here tonight. And we have as our special guest the pride of this great city. We have two of our football organizations here with us tonight. The Lamarque Chargers are here with us. I believe the Lamarque Chargers, I believe there is it the freshman team, Jared? The Pee Wee team, their first year of existence as an organization. The Pee Wee team went to the Super Bowl this year. Is that right? Yeah. Wonderful, wonderful achievement, especially in our first year. Good job, Lamarque Chargers, as well as the Galveston County Sun Devils. I did not get a chance to talk to anyone from the Sun Devils, but we're going to hear right now. What was the successes of your organization this year? That's right. That's right. Let's give the Sun Devils a round of applause as well. What a wonderful sight. Our children being a part of something that is positive, an organizations that are teaching them to be productive members of our society, giving them discipline and goals, teaching them how to sacrifice for a team and for the greater good of their team or our community. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful news. I want to thank, and certainly I think I can take the liberty this council to thank as a council, every volunteer, every coach, every cheerleading coach, every team mom, every aunt, uncle, grandmother, grandfather, every person that is associated with the remarkable success of these young people. This council personally wants to thank you because we understand. Yes, let's give yourselves a round of applause. We certainly understand the tremendous amount of work it takes to love and to care for our children. So with that in mind, this council has invited these two organizations to this city council meeting to present these two organizations with a proclamation of support and appreciation. I believe the Lamarque Chargers are first.
Mhm.
Please have you come forward.
The coaches.
Jared, those members of your board, it's kind of tight in here today. I wish we could get everyone.
And Mayor, let me put this, I would like to say too, that Mr. Jerry Williams is a product of Marque High School. Yes, let's go.
All right, good job, guys. Good job.
And Texas Tech was not. And Texas Tech, but we're not gonna hold that against you, Jared.
Councilwoman Yancey is trying to share with us that Jared Williams is a product of Lamarque High School.
Yeah.
So,
All right, all right, all right.
how can you get your board? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Athletic Director Marcus Williams,
All right, yeah,
Athletic Director Larry Smith,
yeah.
Secretary, Chair Director. Right here.
You all Mark. That's right.
Yeah.
Young men and young women of the Lamarque Chargers organization.
Mhm.
Office of the mayor for the city of Lamarque proclamation. Whereas the Lamarque Chargers football program recently concluded its inaugural season. And whereas Little League football is a labor of love for all who participate. The athletes, auxiliary teams, parents, community partners, referees, all the spectators who attend the game. And whereas this year's Lamarque Chargers 7 U team fiercely competing for the Super Bowl championship game. And whereas the city of Lamarque celebrates an amazing season for the Lamarque Chargers and the future of the program. And now therefore, we the mayor and city council, by virtue of the authority vested by the city of Lamarque, Texas, do hereby proclaim December 11, 2023 as Lamarque Chargers Day.
Yeah.
Lamarque, we hereby proclaim and urge all citizens of Lamarque to congratulate these players, these coaches, these parents, and these auxiliary members on a successful inaugural season. Signed, Keith Bell, Mayor. One more round of applause.
We're gonna attempt to take a picture. If not, we're gonna escort over to the community room so we can get a nicer picture of everybody.
We are going to get a very limited picture here. If you are a Lamarque Charger supporter, follow JB. We're done. I'm too late. Too late. Not somebody loose. All right, guys. Good job. Good job. Good job.
Thanks, Jared. Jared. Jared, thanks.
Thank you, man.
Got you.
Thank you. Good job. Thank you.
Not Jared.
All right. Okay, we have another organization who has provided services to our young people, not only in this community of Marque, but throughout our county. And this organization is the Galveston County Sun Devils.
All right.
I believe the Sun Devils is Greg is a product of the Marque, yes, yes. And I'm sure that there are many others that are products. So whoever is the speaker for you guys, please come forward. We'd love for you to introduce your board. Talk to us again about the kids. Help us understand the wonderful year you all.
Yeah.
Our board, Greg Randall, and Ron Simpson, the president, alert director, vice president, Darnell Jones, myself, vice president of the organization, and, election of all our parents. Everybody was put in and put in and put in, and we actually got a state championship out of it, so.
That's right. Come on, guys.
Come on up. Yeah,
All right.
yes,
Yeah.
very good.
Yeah.
Good job, good job, good job. Let's get that trophy right here in the middle.
Yeah, children, playmaker.
Yeah, let's bring the, I also understand that the cheerleaders are as well. So.
All right, cheerleader. Yes. Good job.
2, 3, 4, 5,
Wow.
yeah.
Look at that.
Wow. Good job.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Very good, wow. Wow.
Yeah.
The size of that. Hey.
Hey, accomplishment of these young people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like this, is that the, what is that? The junior varsity, the TU?
Yeah.
State championship this year?
Wow. Very good.
Wow, that is awesome.
Congratulations.
Before we read this proclamation, I don't know, but I believe this to be true about the charges, but I know this to be true about the Sun Devils. I believe y'all still have a tutoring program for the young people. And so when they come to play with you, when they come to cheerlead or play football, they are also having access to getting tutoring as well.
Yeah.
Wow.
Educators,
Mhm.
an organization, construction, anything they need or want or want to be exposed to. You have to have even some of y'all come, because they might know what a house man or woman, there is.
Right.
I didn't know what the office one is. So,
Right, right.
exposes that kind of, you know,
Right.
Mhm.
You still believe in no pass?
No play.
No play. All right, guys, all right. Office of the Mayor for the City of Lamar proclamation, whereas youth football is an expression of the heart and character and is a part of the fabric of small communities throughout Texas and our nation. And whereas Little League football is a program of service to our youth and to the youth of our community, dedicated to teaching sportsmanship and competition and a will to win, as well as furthering physical fitness and well-being through heartfelt community activities to provide valuable training and for the participants, valuable training for the participants and entertainment for the spectators. Whereas this year, the Galveston County Sun Devil U10 team has played an undefeated season, earning the title of Super Bowl champion. And whereas the City of Lamar celebrates an amazing season for the Galveston County Sun Devil and their championship title, now therefore we the mayor and city council, by the virtue of our authority vested by the city of Lamar, do hereby proclaim December 16th as Galveston County Sun Devil Day in the city of Lamar. Let's give the Sun Devil. Is that right? All right.
Oh, the MVP. All right. Okay.
Give me five.
Congratulations.
All right, guys, we thank y'all for coming. JB, where's JB?
I'm a lot more, man.
So we're gonna do the same thing with you guys. We're gonna move to the community room so that we can get all of our pictures, okay? Great job, guys, great job.
Congratulations.
Yes. Great job, great job. Great job, great job. Yeah.
Richard. Where are they from? Richard, where is that? My neighbor. I want another water.
Water.
We don't have any
Nope.
coffee, do we? Hot, could be hot? No? Okay.
Okay. Let's move now. Let's move now to item 4.3. This is a presentation. 4.3 is a presentation from Aquametrics. Is there a representative from Aquametrics?
Yes, we're actually remote.
Are you remote?
Yes. This is Irene Mathis with Aquametric. We are remote.
Welcome to our council. It is a tad bit noisy. If you would speak up, give us your name and your organization, please.
Yes, I'm Irene Mathis with Aquametric.
Very good. You may proceed with your presentation.
Okay. So I just wanted to do a quick introduction. Cole Davison, who is also remote, will be doing the demo for you guys today. We will be going over the customer portal that will be for your customers to be able to look at their consumption on your smart meters that you currently have. So this will be integrated with our census analytics system. So with that, I'll go ahead and pass it on to Cole and go from there.
Hi, team. This is Cole Davidson. Again, I want to thank y'all very much for y'all's time today. And can I get a thumbs up if y'all can hear me? I can see y'all on camera. Can y'all hear me well?
We
Thumbs up.
are trying to hear you well. We're clearing our chambers out as we speak. We had a presentation, so we're trying to hear you. If you could speak up just a little bit.
I can do that. Is that a little better?
Yes, a little better.
Awesome. Okay. All right. Well, while I'm pulling my screen up to share this and give the demo, I want to say congratulations to y'all's youth football organizations as well. Also, it says I cannot screen share right now. Whoever the host is. The host for this meeting, I just need them to give me the ability to share my screen.
He's working with you. You should have it, Cole.
All right, there we go. Thank you so much. All right, so let me bring up my screen for y'all. All right, and can I get a thumbs up if y'all can see the screen or a yes? Awesome, thank you. All right, so with the solution that we're going over today, it really is, y'all made an investment to gather this data for your customers. Now what we want to do is be able to allow each and every one of your customers to interact with that data. So now they understand their usage and their billing aspects. First, when the customer first logs in, one things we want to do is the thing they're calling about and they're wanting to understand when they want to talk about their water is how they're using the water and what their bill is. So we give those things right to them when they first log in. They can view their bill, they can understand what their bill amount is, and can understand how they can work on paying it. From there, they can look at how are they using their water. As you go through in certain areas, if you're having to do any kind of conservation efforts, this is how you can allow, and you can actively work with customers to look at conservation efforts. They can understand how they're being compared to other people. They can even ask questions on the screen to understand how they are compared. Let's say this house has 2 people in it. Let's say 5 people have moved into the house, and that's why the usage has gone up. They can actually update their profile, and we can then from there, using our software, compare them to better people to understand and drive efficiencies and look at how they're using their solution. From there, as we have notifications, we can take information from the census meters that y'all have installed and look and see if there's continuous use detection. I know y'all have a motion later today, I believe motion 9.1 is to talk about, unusual usage. This is how your customers can know if they have unusual usage, and they can investigate that usage. And then even if there is a leak or something, an issue, they can even submit a claim to the city as well. As we go through here, you can also put out other announcements. So there's a palooza going on in the city that I'm giving a demo for that you can give announcements along these so that people of your community can interact with you as well. Now we're going to dive into how they can view the usage. Now we're going to take all that information that your customers have. Let me re-log in. Sorry about that. Due to inactivity, let me re-log in. As this comes up, sorry about that. Just loading right now, sorry. Sat for a moment and it logs you, our system just with the security, it logs you out after if you've sat for too long. Gonna jump into here now, I can view the usage. So now we have all that meter information that your customers are based on their usage. Now what we wanna do is let them see that. First thing we can do is they can investigate a possible leak. From there, they can see their usage on a daily basis. They can go in and say, how much water did I use today? And they can see hour by hour how much water they used. They can even then, let's say there's a possible leak. They notice their bill was high. They can investigate that leak. And we give your customers step-by-step instructions on how to test to see if there's a leak and what they can do. And after they found a leak, if they have, they can submit this back to you, and the utility can actually work on providing information to the customer if there's any leak adjustments or what they can do if they have found a leak. From there, we can even dive into ways that they can provide service forms and fill out forms that come back to you as a utility, so they can actually communicate with you as a utility. Or do they need to submit a service request? Does someone need to come check the meter at their house? Do they need to apply for a rebate? Are they stopping service? And then on top of that, one thing that is fantastic is allowing the customer to set their communication preferences. Each and every one of your customers wants to be communicated into a specific way, whether that be paper, email, text, or even through a voice message. You now have the ability to communicate to them in the way they want to be communicated to. If your customers are traveling, you can have it to where they can say there's unplanned usage. If your customers are going to be out of town for a month or 2 at a time, they can set this to where if there might be a pipe burst or a daily leak that comes up while they're gone, they get a notification and they can call you as a utility and ask you to send someone to shut it off, or even do a remote shut off. You have that capability. From there, you can even do, when you're working on the utility side, you can send your customers urgent notices. If there's a boil water alert or something, you can get that information to your customers right away. Instead of having to wait or try to use social media, now you can get that information right to your customers in their hands, on their phones or on their computers via email, text message, or voice message. And then as always, your customers can always unsubscribe from these if they do not want to be communicated to. But the solution allows you to communicate with your customers in the ways they want to, and about the things that they want to hear about. Are there any questions about what I've shown? I know I don't want to take up too much y'all's time today, so, but are there any high level questions?
Council, do we have any questions for Cole?
I just wanted to know, how does this water usage, interface compare to the one available from the original switch to the smart meters?
Can you help explain to me the solution that was there, Irene?
Could you hear me?
I heard the question. Just Irene, I just wanted to make sure I speak correctly. Irene, or can you explain what was the solution there so I can dive into that?
Yeah, I just want to know how it's going to compare to the one that we originally switched to.
Oh, so what this now?
Smart meter.
Oh, sorry. No, I mean, it's, so you still have your census analytics, which is there for your customer service, you know, for internal. This would actually be for your customers to view. So I don't think you guys actually have a customer portal yet. This would be for your customers right now.
Can I clarify on that?
Go ahead, Caesar.
Wanted to just touch base on that. So the current process we have allows us to do this in-house. But what we're proposing now, or was being brought, is something that council brought that they wanted us to bring back, to state opportunity of having us, all of our members to have it on their phones. So have an app that you can track your stuff.
Yes.
How you can track your electrical usage at home. This would allow you to do so for water.
Correct.
That would be the only difference that's being proposed. Council asked us to look into this. We're bringing it back for council consideration.
So basically what happens now, you have to come here or you have to call and you can't really see it for yourself. The app will allow, if I'm correct, the app will allow us to be able to gauge and see and understand how much water we're using. And then if there's a problem, you see it right then and there, right from waiting to the end of the month, right?
Exactly. Instead of waiting till your bill comes to you and it's $500 higher because you had a 2-gallon leak per day. Now they know they can log in and see, hey, I might have a leak. My bill is actually going to be higher than normal. They can call you, or they have the ability to figure out what that issue is right there on their phone. So they can self-serve, and then it prevents that awkward call of someone calling and saying, why was my bill $500 higher? It prevents those calls.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Jay.
Just to be clear, it prevents those calls only if you set the parameters that you want.
Those parameters can be set. There is a utility side. I can show that utility side. I wanted to be respectful of y'all's time, but I can show how the utility can set those parameters, and we can take information that you're getting from your census meters, because your census meters can tell you up to microgallons. Now you're going to take the hardware alert that your census meters can give you and combine it with a software alert. So now you can really communicate with your customers and they can understand if there's actual possible leak or continuous usage. And I can show you that right here real quick from what the utility would see. So when the utility logs in, let me pull this up. So this is what the utility page would look like. When you as the utility, when you are logging in and wanting to communicate, and you can look at all the information across the board. So you have your census side, or your census analytics for your census side, to understand all your meter information, everything else. Now what we're going to do is take all that meter information and combine, a leading software to really do additional work on top of that. You can see how many leaks were in your area. You can see the total consumption across your customer base. If you have drought restrictions or you're going through coastal conservation efforts, you can understand how customers are interacting with those efforts. From there, you can go down, when I go into these leaks, I can actually set the thresholds based on my meter type. I can say specific meters have these thresholds, and those can be adjusted as time goes on.
To be clear, you're saying specific meters. I was, from a consumer, I'm a user. I want to set my own parameters.
You can have specific parameters, yes, as a customer as well. So you're, as a customer, when I come in, I can go to my settings. I can go to my communication preferences here. And you can set your high use notifications to where if you're using more than normal. If you have a bill forecast, if you want to get alerted if your bill is going to be $10 more than typical, you can set that to where based on your usage, we can see based on your usage and your rate that you're paying, we can see that your bill is going to be higher. Like 10 days in, if it looks like it's tracking that it's going to be $10 more, you can get a notification. Same with high usage. If you want to get a notification that you're using 2 times more water, you can set that. And I can say, you can set, I want an email and a text message that it's going to be higher.
And this system, does it permit bill payment as well or not?
We do not have that. Do you know who you use for your online bill payments?
We have authorized.net.
So what we can do is to where they can click a thing and where they click, if they want to, they can click pay bill and it will direct them to the authorized.net to pay their bill. They could click that and it will take them to that website.
And this software, Ms. Councilperson Yancey mentioned an app, but I don't have to use an app. I can download this to my desktop or my laptop, correct?
It is a web responsive. So whether you are on a laptop, an iPad, a Surface, an iPhone, an Android phone, it all looks the same. So what I'm going to do is it's going to look a little funky for a moment. I'm going to pull up to where I can show you, this is what it's going to look like if it is on an iPhone. If I have an iPhone 12, let me refresh this and it'll show you exactly what the customer sees when they log into their iPhone. So now it's the same experience. They can view all the information on their phone, on their iPad, on any of these items, and it is the exact same information. So there is no confusion for the customer. So no matter if I log in on my phone day 1 and I log in on my laptop day 2, I get the same information. And it allows you to save this to your home screen, save the web app, and it walks step by step on how they can save this to their home screen. So they don't ever have to go in and type the website. They can go on their home screen of their phone and save it.
So, Mr. City Manager, this is just an information presentation, correct?
I'm sorry.
This is just an information presentation on questions that we've had.
Absolutely.
When we were having the water to bill discussion and bill rates.
This is correct. This is the presentation. You do have an item on the agenda. If you would like to proceed with this item today, that is on the agenda for your consideration, only because we've done the diligence. We were told to bring back this app, this opportunity to do so, and we wanted to tie it with the presentation.
Well, I'll have my questions then when the items come up then.
Sure.
It's more directed at us. Okay.
Thank you.
And are there any other questions? I can pull it up again. I want to be very respectful of your council's time.
Council, do we have any other questions for Aquametrics? Cole and Irene, thank you for your time here tonight. I think we've exhausted our questions, and if we have any more questions, we will certainly get back into contact with you.
Thank you very much for your time tonight as well.
Thank you. Item 5, council citizens participation, limited to 3 minutes per person. Comments from the public will be heard at this time. Any person with city-related business who has signed up may speak to council for limited to 3 minutes. If you wish to speak, you may give the mayor or the presiding officer your full legal name, your address, and the item you wish to speak about. Compliance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, the city may not deliberate on comments. Personal attacks will not be allowed. Personnel matters should be addressed to the city manager during normal business hours. Press *6 to mute and unmute yourself if you're participating via telephone. If you're participating via the Zoom platform, with a tablet, a smartphone, or a computer, you may access the microphone icon at the lower portion of your screen to speak. If you're in person, you may approach the podium directly in front of the council with your name and your address, and you will be heard. Kyle, are there any persons online wishing to speak tonight? Not that you see. Are there any persons online wishing to speak? Hearing none, we'll move to those that are in person. Mr. Robert Mitchstich. Welcome, Robert. Name and address for the record, please.
Robert Mitchstich, 24 North Curlew, the Marque. Hope all of your Thanksgiving was good. This has to do with request tracker and the permit process. In our HOA, we have been trying to improve our participation in our architectural committee forum. You know, it's our form of permit that then goes to the city and improving the city permit process. This is be a positive win-win for all. On or about, let's start with a request tracker. This is nothing new. It's been happening across the city. But along about the weekend of November 26, our property management firm put in a couple of requests and it was concerning some non-permitted construction. Within 2 days, both of them were closed out. No explanation, just other than closed by Ms. Mallory. And it said the request had been addressed. And this was the third request tracker entered. That was not true on these two ones. And then our HOA president put one in on that Monday, and a day later, that one was closed out. There was no feedback provided to any of us. So we didn't even know it unless you went back in and checked it. And of course, there was no trip to the field for any of these inspections. Now for permits, and I will challenge you this, if you wanted to pull a permit form and you type in permit on the city, what search right there, you're not going to find it. You will come up with a mechanical permit. And so what we're trying to do is post some things on our website and on our Facebook pages, you know, so that we can tell people where to go and do this, because a lot of the contractors refer the public to go and get their own permits for various reasons. But what happens is when I went down there, I couldn't get through to them to start with. So I made a trip down there. What I did at the city's main page, I was given, you know, the links to go to. First, you open your home page, then you got to select departments, then you must select developmental services, then you must select applications and forms. Nowhere in there is the word permits. And for the general public, they're not going to know this. And if they're not getting an answer at the call, they give up. They're just not going to do it. Now, secondly, what happened is, as an example, and I introduced my, identified myself and that I was with our HOA and exactly what I was trying to do. But I asked for an example, well, what's the permit for a roof replacement? Well, this young lady may have been new, I'll grant that. But she was trying to say, well, we'd have to set $150 non-refundable developmental meeting for that. And I said, and I had to re-explain everything.
Finish your statement, Robert.
And so what I'm getting at, they didn't know it was, they can't tell you the cost. And when I asked for a listing of all the costs, they couldn't say, and she could only say, well, just turn in your permit and then we'll send it back to you with what you would owe. You can't expect that to happen in the real world with the public because they want to know their costs. It's frustrating to contractors because they can't quote an accurate cost to the customer. And so this is something that's got to be improved on, because right now there's no way I could put this monstrosity on our website and say this is what you have to follow. They're just not going to do it. And I know that's happening everywhere else. So it's an action item that we need to fix. And we're trying to help, but that's where we're at. Thank you for your time. If we don't see y'all before then, have a Merry Christmas.
Thank you, Robert.
Mayor, I do have just a question on what, just to clarify, Robert, did I hear correctly? You said that originally you went to the City of Marque website to look for permits.
Yeah.
Permits. Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't search like that. We've known that, but it is something that needs to be corrected. And
Could you get with Mr. Mistich
I will certainly do.
and report back to council?
Yep.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you. David Pennington. Welcome, David. Name and address for the record, please.
David Pennington, 924 Cypress. Thank you, Mayor, Council. Tonight I want to talk on two items. The first one is item 7.5, which is the approval of customer portal through Aquametric. Now, in the staff notes there, it said training and a test period will be provided through Aquametric, where employees can sign up as if they were customer portal users to become familiar with it. Now, I want to know why citizens can't be part of that test program. I mean, employees are here, they have the best computers and the latest software, and they got IT at their fingertips. The common citizen doesn't have that. So why would you run a test program with people who have everything against people who may not? So would you consider having some citizens included in that test program? The other item I want to talk to you about tonight is the capital improvements. I went through those capital improvements that y'all are proposing, and I got some questions as to whether some of those are actually capital improvements or not. First of all, there's the emergency operations. They want a restroom trailer at $110,000, a mobile command trailer at $100,000. Now, we already have a mobile command trailer. Why do we need another one? And the other thing is, we got a fire station that was designed and built to house an emergency operations center. So why do we need another mobile command center? Some other items on here, library generator, $400,000. If we have a disaster, more than likely the library is going to be closed. So why do they need an emergency generator? Public Works. We have a disaster, Public Works is going to be out. That's $500,000 for a generator that they want. A satellite backup system, $100,000. I don't even know what that is. A new access control system, $100,000. My understanding, that's for the door locks and stuff here, right? The key, pass keys you get in. Am I correct? Okay, yeah. Didn't we just change that just a couple of years ago? And here we are wanting $100,000 to redo that. The library, windows and skylights, $70,000. What does that have to do with infrastructure? Flock cameras, $30,000 a year, mobile production studio, $50,000, portable outdoor stage, $165,000. And you're going to have a 3/4 ton pickup to pull it, which is another $90,000. And then you got an indoor stage for $40,000. Now, personally, I don't know of a facility that we have that's big enough to put an indoor stage and still put people in there. But unless y'all know something I don't, I need to know why we need all this stuff. And the portable outdoor stage, to my knowledge, we only have two major events. That's BioFest and the Christmas parade. So is it worth it to buy or spend $165,000? Actually more than that, because you had to buy a truck to go with it. Public Relations wants a portable restroom for $50,000. You know, just these items that I mentioned here.
Finish your statement, David.
Just these items that I finished here total up to $1.8 million. Now, I think y'all need to go back and look at this before y'all approve it. I think there's a lot of fat in this program that can be cut. To me, we need to be spending money on public improvements, fixing our water lines, fixing our sewer lines, fixing our roads, fix those potholes. Those are the things that I consider capital improvements. And those are things I think you need to concentrate on. And I'd appreciate you go back and look at this. Thank you.
Thank you, David.
Mayor, just a point of information.
Point of information.
Mr. City Manager was asked, let's get on the table all needs, identify all needs, because we have, as our reps from the GLO know, ongoing grant opportunities, and they fit different needs that go beyond our infrastructure, say our streets and stuff of that nature. So just for clarification purposes,
Absolutely. Thank you,
it's a
Jeff.
very thorough report.
Thank you, Jeff. James Osteen. Welcome, James. Name and address for the record, please.
James Osteen, 2012 Giordano. I want to talk to y'all tonight about item 7.1. What the agenda reads is Resolution R 2023-0071. That's a violation of the Government Code 551.041 because there's no subject matter there. That's required by the government code. Y'all's last council meeting, y'all did have the subject matter in there about you was going to approve the audit. So I want to make you aware, if y'all act on this tonight, you're in violation of the government
Yeah.
code. And I think Gus would have to agree with that.
Point of information, James, we don't intend to act on it tonight.
Okay. And then I want to talk to you about resolution 7.111.
Mhm.
The resolution R 2023-0081. That's what your agenda says the resolution number is.
Mhm.
When I pulled the resolution out of the packet, it's got resolution 0053. Now, on some of these resolutions, on most of them, they quit putting the resolution numbers on the resolutions.
Mhm.
I'm really troubled by when they go back to put these resolution numbers on there after y'all approve them, what the number is on the agenda, they're gonna get the wrong number on there. Here's a good example.
Right.
And y'all haven't even approved this one yet. It's got the wrong number on it. I'd like to see y'all instruct your city clerk to go back to putting the resolutions number on here to match the agendas. So me and the rest of the public can catch a mistake when they make mistakes. I know mistakes gonna be made. I caught this one.
Yeah.
So I'd like to see them to go back and I know why they took it off, so they wouldn't get caught making a mistake. Not my first rodeo. So I'd like to see that rectified. Now, I'd like to, if you give me time to talk about 9.1, this,
Go ahead, James.
I didn't know whether you're gonna, okay. I'd like y'all to question, are the ratepayers gonna have to pay this 48,000 a year for this system? You know, that's $4,000 a month. So if y'all ask that question, and is it gonna be a secured site? Because people are gonna be putting their bank numbers on there. And if y'all take that into consideration, I'd appreciate it.
Thank you, James. Rashard Loftus. Welcome, Rashard. Name and address for the record, please.
Rashard Loftus, 309 Johnson Street. About 3 years ago, I requested and asked the mayor and council to put in to get a mosquito machine so we wouldn't have to rely on the county. And I'm quite happy to say today that we do have a mosquito machine after 3 years of calling, texting, begging, pleading. So I'm here to say thank you for that. We paid more than what we should have paid for it had we bought it 3 years ago. But nonetheless, we got it. So I want you all to consider when budget season come up, put in for another one, because I really do believe we need two. It was hell getting one, but we got it. Two, I want to go back and revisit the turmoil and the stress of having to deal with a neighbor for the last 13 years, dealing with code enforcement. In some cases, not doing their job, because I shared some of those photos. And as you can see, utterly ridiculous what was allowed to take place over there on their property. Citations was issued, and 99% of the time they was dismissed. And it was really disheartening to have to deal with that. Coming in here to court dates, getting dismissed, taking off work, getting lied to by code enforcement. The word I want you all to understand moving forward should be accountability. Accountability for people who are getting my tax dollars, getting these people's tax dollars, and coming in here not doing the damn job. Excuse my French, but yeah, not doing their job. And I've dealt with that here. People not doing their job. And it ain't in just code enforcement, it's probably in some other departments as well. But when I see it, I'm gonna call it out. And that's what I'm doing today. Code enforcement wasn't doing their job. That's why some changes was made. Now, hopefully moving forward, these changes are more beneficial to the city as a whole and to each citizen and resident that have to deal with violators, constant violators, and homeowners that's allowing this to happen. That rental registration program not working. And it ain't working because people weren't doing their job. And hopefully moving forward, it won't be happening again. Like I said, I shared with the city manager over the weekend
Finish statement.
what was going on next door. I didn't win a lot of the battles, but I won the war because now he doesn't live there anymore. And the property is in utter disgust. But the main thing is he don't live there anymore. And he should have been gone a long time ago, had people here doing their job and forced him out of there. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Loftus. Move now, council to item 6. 6.1, regular city council minutes of 11/13/2023. I will entertain a motion.
I'll move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Council, do we have any corrections, omissions? Deletions? Hearing none, we'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? 7 resolutions. Memorandum of agreement, reporting. That shouldn't be there, Caesar. Memorandum of agreement, that's right under resolution. That shouldn't be there. The Knox alone issue. Let's move to, we're moving past 7.1 because 7.1 does not have a title. We're moving now to 7.2. Resolution number R-2023-0080, rejecting a bid proposal from Trailer and Associates of Tyler, Texas for grant administrator for the flood mitigation assistance program sponsored by the Texas Water Development Board, funded by the Federal Emergency Management Administration. Mr. Garcia.
I know Rick is here as well. We'll quickly go through this. Essentially, we're continuing to apply for this grant using other methods. We are rejecting the one bid that we actually received, but are still pursuing the actual grant to work on this drainage project. If you have any questions, we can answer from there.
Just for clarification purposes, this is a grant that will quite possibly fund drainage work in the Camp Circle area. Is that correct? Camp Circle.
That is the primary focus. As long as that project meets this final criteria, that's our option A.
Camp Circle historically has flooding issues.
Yes, sir. That is
District
one of
A.
our, that is one of
Very
our
good.
2 most prevalent areas. One we're addressing now with the West Lawn. Camp Circle is the next.
Second.
Wisteria working on with the other project we hope to hear from soon. So we're trying to attack these one spot at a time.
Very good. Council, do we have any questions for Rick or for Caesar as it relates to item 7.2?
Well, I
Go ahead,
do.
Jeff.
Just to be clear, we're rejecting this, but the work is being continued, and I had asked this in the last meeting. We have this relationship with Grant,
Yes, sir.
with Grant Works, right?
Yes, sir.
And that's who's continuing the work.
That is
we
a
have to-
general idea for us to continue in that route. We've heeded to the recommendation.
Any further questions? I will entertain a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Council, do we have any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Item 7.3, resolution number letter R. Excuse me. -2023-0081. This is awarding construction of the Main Street water line to VS Construction in the amount not to exceed $1,709,762. I believe this is also the one that has a different resolution number or no resolution number. Is that correct? So Caesar, you want to explain the project?
Certainly. This is one of the items that we brought to you when we had the discussion with our bond expenses. Obviously, at the time of us submitting the actual bond sheet and putting this out to bid, you needed to get actual costs of what the actual work would be. The work is going to be substantially greater in the amount than what we originally expected. I believe we received, Rick, correct me if I'm wrong, 7 bids, 5 or 7 for this? 7 bids for this project. This is the lowest responding bidder at this time for this project, which is still substantially higher. What we needed to do was to rework the bid allocation form, the bond allocation form that we brought to you previously, which is what's been included in the package for your consideration. So you could source where it is that we're gonna find the funds to pay for the project. You remember, this is the water line project tied to Main Street, one of our major components that we have. That was approved as one of the highest areas of needs. Current, almost complete, need for like redoing the entire line is necessary, in line with our sanitary sewer, which is another project that runs along Main Street. The focus is imminent. We also said we would leapfrog this project as fast as possible, because we've also been awarded sidewalks from Texas, from TxDOT for this area, that we would need to complete this work and the sanitary sewer work prior to that commencing.
Okay. On Main Street, between what street and what street?
Between Irene and 12, it's about 1 mile.
Almost 0.1, a little more than a mile.
Council, do we have any questions for Caesar or Rick as relates to item 7.3?
To be clear, then, that 1 mile is the worst. Is that why the priority is being given to that area?
Replacing is the Gifford Hill line that was put in the 70s. We've had some failures on the line. If you remember, we had a very large failure on this water line underneath I-45 on Main Street. It is the
Last
same
Christmas.
pipe. And we've had a couple other failures on this pipe. It is very expensive to fix this pipe. It is an old pipe. This project was in our plans to replace this pipeline as part of the CIP from a few years back. This new pipeline we're putting in will be much easier to maintain at a much lower cost. And the bottom line is the Gifford Hill line is kind of reached its life expectancy.
Once again, it's life expectancy just for that area that's the work is being done for, or are we having an ongoing need for the rest of
We
the
have more Gifford
area?
Hill, we have more Gifford Hill pipes there.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's along Main Street there.
Actually, from 12th Street, it runs all the way up towards 1765, and then from 1765, our main feed line from Orchid and 5th Street from Gulf Coast Water Authority is all Gifford Hill pipe. It was used quite extensively back when they were building these water lines.
And you mentioned this is a 1 mile section. Once again, I'm the layperson here, but are we going to use this opportunity to improve our positioning of our water hydrant, our fire hydrants? Because this part of town was using the older standards, which were what, 1,000? I forget, 1,000?
Probably it's 500. Right?
It's 500 feet.
We're running 500 feet on hydrant.
Now it's 500, but previously it was 1,000. Or
Probably wherever
they could put
Yeah.
some, honestly, yeah, that's right. That's all I'm asking. Yeah, good to hear that.
Any further questions for Rick or Caesar? I do want to go back to Gus and this idea that former council member Mr. Osteen brought to our attention, the idea that there are different the possibility that there might be different resolution numbers for this item. It is the awarding construction work, millions, at least $1.7 million worth. And I would hate for us to have an issue with that.
Yeah. So council has council is free to pass this resolution. It's a notice to pass it. Legally, you can pass it. If you're going to, what I would say is just in your motion, amend the caption of it to be resolution 2023-081 to match. Yeah. But the subject of the resolution, as the council always does, while we staff propose resolutions, council has the absolute discretion to amend those resolutions.
So again, why aren't we putting these resolution numbers in the agenda?
That would be, I think and I may be out of my lane here. I believe the concern was they were taken out because we weren't sure which ones would pass and which ones wouldn't. And we didn't want to have a situation where we were skipping a bunch based on ones that did not pass. Does that make sense?
Are you talking about the area where you went from 0071 and jumped to 0080? Is that what you're saying?
No, we're talking about,
I know you're on 0082, but are you talking about?
So
I'm
the
just trying to
reason,
understand.
just to clarify here, it's really just for a record keeping purpose. We present resolutions, ordinances to you all the time. If you don't keep it, then it goes away. It's really just a matter of, record keeping and saying the 7-1 is us bringing it back. We've used the numbers in between. But if you don't pass it, then in the record keeping, it'll just be blank. That's why it's done that way.
so why wouldn't we be able to, when we take action, why wouldn't you be able to, let's say we don't pass a resolution. Let's say it's resolution 0001, right? And we don't pass it. In your minutes, right? When you're transcribing the minutes and you see that we didn't pass it again in your office, why wouldn't you be able to then allow that number to be taken by the next resolution? Because at that point you can adjust. You can say they didn't pass it, so let me put that number back up so that it would be available for the next resolution.
It goes back to just a historical value. If we have multiple resolutions that have used the same number, when you go back 10 years from now and say, oh, well, this was resolution number 2023-0001, and then you go back and you research it, and then it'll talk about multiple different topics. Does that make sense?
So you're trying to keep it from.
We're trying to prevent having numbers on resolutions that didn't pass.
So let's do this, because that's a side of our discussion, a good one, but I don't want us to get sidetracked. But I also don't want to pass this $1.7 million package and then we have a problem because we don't know what the resolution number is. So go ahead, Joe.
Mayor, I kind of understand both sides here, but wouldn't where our requirement is to have a resolution on what's passed, correct?
The requirement's to have a motion.
The requirement to have a motion.
Yes.
But can't you, instead of putting the number on the agenda, we don't necessarily have to put the number there, right? That's what I've heard before in the past. Why can't you provide us the resolution number as we're about to make a motion?
We can do that.
Does that make sense? And that way she's not.
Yeah.
Because you're the keeper of the numbers, so to say, right? So you know what numbers are available. And so if I were to move to approve this, I would move passage for resolution number R 2023.
And you would give us the number then in that motion. You
that
would say, yeah, you would assign a number to it in that motion. If it can keep our records accurate and allow for what perhaps former council member James Osteen is trying to guard against, as well as be efficient, I don't have a problem with it. Council, do we have a problem with Mayor Pro Tem's proposal? Hey, Kara, hearing feedback from council, certainly we'd like to see a policy as it relates to that in the future. Let's get back to business, the business at hand, and that is 7.3.
Move resolution of.
You move approval? Is there a second?
Approval for, let me be clear now, following my own suggestion of resolution number R 2023-0081.
It is 8.1 and not 5.3. Are you okay?
And that's what's been presented to y'all on 7.3.
And I'd be willing to participate on this if in fact, sooner rather than later, the council gets a policy. Okay, I feel comfortable. If you can do that, then I feel comfortable personally proceeding with this. Council, do we have any more questions? I believe Mayor Pro Tem has a motion on the floor. Is that second?
Second.
Now, council, do we have any more questions or any discussion?
This part of this is the area between Prune going down Main Street that had the water line above ground for quite a while this summer, right?
No. This is a main trunk line that runs a 16-inch pipe that runs on Main Street between Irene and 12th Avenue. Right now, TxDOT contractor is has completed the water line to Irene and they're installing the water line that goes underneath I-45. So this pipeline will connect to that new pipe at Irene.
Council, any further questions?
I know exactly why now.
Hearing none, we'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? 7-4. Resolution number letter R 2023 0082, authorizing a municipal advisory services agreement with Stiefel, Nicholas and Company Incorporated. Caesar?
Yes,
I saw the finance director. It doesn't matter.
No
Whoever
worries.
wants to go first.
Absolutely. No, this is a team effort, and actually Gus brought this to our attention. Guys, you want to get where we got here when we started having the conversation with TERS?
Sure. Currently the Omega Bay TERS has asked us to run TERS 2, has asked us to look at the ability, how much money they can afford, how much money they can raise to do a project. We've reached out to Stiefel, who is the city's current municipal financial services advisor. They've begun that process, but as part of that, their agreement was due to expire with the city at the end of this year. So as part of that, they brought a renewal to us. That's what we're asking the council to approve. That agreement is before y'all. Really, David Webb with Stiefel, who y'all worked with before throughout their engagement, is here if y'all have any questions for him. And then of course, I'm happy to answer any questions that y'all have for me as well.
Did you want to add, Caesar?
No, absolutely not. It is council's will, whatever the decision is. We have our finance director, legal, myself. It was something that it needs to be renewed anyways. We are trying to move this matter forward, and we will proceed as you deem. This is considered a professional service, thus we can simply move forward if that is your will.
There's no changes in it.
I don't see any changes.
David, I think it's just, it's your standard, they continue at will, the compensation. I don't have their old compensation, but David, is the compensation the same as it was? Basically, you pay if we issue debt, we pay.
Yes, the only thing the firm will allow us to change in this contract form is the compensation, which can vary from client to client. In this case, we have reproduced the same compensation schedule that we had in the earlier contract. So there's no change there at all.
Okay. All right.
Thank you. Any further questions, council? Kiara, do we need a motion? I lost my place. Council, if there are no further questions, we will entertain a motion.
Well, just I move to approve this authorization of the municipal services agreement as resolution number R 2023-0082.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? 7-5, resolution number letter R 2023-0083. Discussion possible action regarding the approval of the customer portal through Aquametric. Council, we've had a presentation from Aquametric earlier. So we will take up discussion. Council, do we have any questions for Mr. Garcia, or any discussion amongst ourselves as it relates to 7-5?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Joe.
Well, let's pick up. I had a similar question. The cost associated with this is not an assessment that we're going to be passing on in the water bill. Is that true or false?
Mayor Pro Tem, I can answer that. The decision on how to do that, either we were going to absorb it outright through the utility fund, or we're going to discuss bringing that back similar to how we have our CTT fee that's on there as to what that would equate to, whatever that issue is. That's something for discussion for us to have as to how we're going to pay for it. The original intention to do, if you remember, we were going to bring this back as a ARPA item for the first year, which we're bringing back in January for your consideration to start spending those funds. So that way you can pay for the first year out of ARPA to not pass anything along. But then during the next schedule of fees discussion, if whenever you wanted to cover that expense, we could decide, do we absorb it or do we pass it along in that way, in that manner?
Well, let me say, yeah, I do recall that, and I would still be in favor of that if we need to use our ARPA money.
Yes,
That's
sir.
number one. Number two, however, the discussion, you're not going to have all 100% utilization of any system.
Certainly.
And this agreement or service contract call for 7,500 connections, I guess, is the term I'd be looking for, users.
Everybody would have access to it. We would get charged for all of them regardless of how they're used. That is part of their agreement, the way that it is. And we have up to that amount.
Up to the 7,500.
Yes, sir.
How many connections do we have now? We have 84, but that includes commercial. That's everyone. What's the difference between resident? This is residential, by the way, or is it commercial?
There will be the ability for commercial to also track in their method if they so choose.
Okay.
Everyone will have that option, at least the first 7,500 that would register. So to your understanding, as our growth continues, our projection is not to exceed 7,500. I believe that was the lowest extension available at this time.
Yeah. So the issue comes down to if we fund it in the first year, we can use ARPA, correct?
That is correct.
And then the issue becomes from then on, does the utility fund bear the burden, which we can do? Or alternatively, there's some sort of possible assessment, additional cost. I kind of remember at some point in the past discussion, the presentation of 45 cents a customer or something like that.
Something to that.
If you wanted to access it. But I think, council, this is just my thought. I think that we should come up with a long-term plan for funding this, right? Let's not just say, hey, this is great this year, but let's have a plan that financially we're not saying to everybody, get ready to pay out some more money is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
So
Caesar, I bring the same question that Mr. Pennington brought to us. Why would we not allow for, and I don't know that we did it, but why would we not allow for the opportunity for our community members, our residents, to take part in this demo? Right? They're going to be the one, we as a community, citizens, we're going to be the one using this. And so why would we not do that?
Certainly. And thank you. The idea is for us to start in-house so we understand it, so we can explain it to others better. But we also would like to have some beta testers start utilizing the actual system before we fully launch. But to answer your question, Mayor, yes, we should have stated that better in the actual agenda form. We do intend to do so.
But but again, when people access this and use this, they're not going to necessarily have an orientation, right? They're going to have to learn this through trial and error, through trying to follow directions and things of that nature. So again, we can find people in our community. There are people that are in our community that are retired municipal workers. David's one of them. Former city council members, Mr. Osteen. There are folks in our community that we can allow for them to have limited access so that they can help us to understand how friendly this program is. So then they would then be able to go and help sell that program to their neighbors. So I would like for us to consider incorporating about 5 of our own community members so that we can orient them and allow for them to access the program. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Go ahead.
Let's have a comment. I hear some thinking. Mr. City Manager, we can fund this actually out of the ARPA for 2 years. Is that true?
We allocate it appropriately. You technically would. You just have to double the allocation amount. Whatever whatever the
Wait,
total
but-
is
but
minus the
you-
incorporation, but
you said
yes.
something, I just want to say something. We, as council, have not allocated anything.
No,
I want to make it clear.
we're not
All
yet.
right. So as an action item for a first expenditure of ARPA, we could allocate 2 years worth of dollars to support this program. Yes or no?
If you so choose, yes.
Okay,
It is a applicable expense.
okay. And in the second year, with the 8,400 users you mentioned, is there some, what's the renewal terms? What happens in the second year? What are the increases?
Give me a second. I'll
Grant.
look at that.
I'll speak up in general
Eh,
because I'll
okay.
try to help here because I'm
All right.
familiar with this program a little bit. So just for some clarity, when we bought the smart meters have the ability to tell us exactly when you're using water,
Right,
down to the hour, right?
I remember that.
Right now, the billing department can do that for customers. What we don't have is a customer portal that allows customers to be able to access that system. That's all this is.
No.
I wouldn't want you to get misled that somehow it would get absorbed into the utility fund because it can't. Anything we put in utility fund has to be paid by utility fees. That's just the way it works. So right now, we have a very expensive system that a lot of cities have, smart meters, that have the ability to tell a customer if they have a leak before we can tell them. We only read that meter once a month. When we read a meter, if somebody's used 5,000 gallons instead of 3,000 gallons, we may not see that. We don't call them on the phone and say, hey, use an extra 2,000 gallons. So eventually, if it's like 10,000 gallons of usage, we would probably flag that and hopefully reach out to the customer and say, hey, you've got a leak. Because you're going to get a very large bill because you have a leak. We can see it on our system. These systems that we're talking about that allows the customers to portal into our system that we've already paid for. We already have the technologies there. We just don't have the ability for the customers to see it.
I guess you answered the question I was trying to.
So, yeah, I was
get
trying to,
across.
because I wanted to make sure there was some clarity there because these systems, what we put in the ground was purposely made to be used for the customers. But it's not free. It's not. You have to be able to have that software, that interlink for the customers to be able to get into our system. They can set their own parameters. They can say, hey, if my water use goes up by 25%, I want you to notify me. And the system will. So the customer would know within a day or two that they have a leak. Right now, they don't know that. There's no way of them knowing that, and there's no way the city to know.
Right, so that's been a huge problem. So one of the things that we noticed at TML was programs like this. Because if you look at cities that are, one of the best practices for cities is that everything is connected through the technology.
Right.
Meaning they can go in and see for themselves. So I'm really happy to see that you guys came back with this because I get a lot of questions from my older residents about the water. We all know water is going up across the state of Texas. It's an issue. So the more that we can inform our residents where they can see for themselves and not have to wait to the end of the, because let's be honest, a lot of our infrastructure is antiquated here in Lamarck. So we may have more leaks than others, right? But I want to go back to make sure that if we do something like this, that we have meaningful training. Because even with request tracker, some people still don't know how to use that. So I want to make sure that this is something that we do, that we look at trying to get some type of training, a video or something that we could refer our customers to. Because again, apps, and I know apps because that's part of what I do as far as apps are only as good as you use it, right? You have to, you put the information in, but customers have to use it. And I don't want it to be, for us to do this and then we're not properly empowering our citizens how to use it. This is a growing community, and I'm hoping we do this because I know, Ms. Henderson, I would like to hear from you real quick. What do you, if you have this program, how would this help your office?
It will help us out a lot. the one problem we do have is not catching a leak on time. I mean, we get alerts by the time my billing analyst gets the alert, it's already billed. She's in that transition already.
Okay.
If a customer goes out of town, there's a lot of times where they're like, well, can you put our account on hold? Or can you monitor? But there's no really,
Way for you to do that.
right.
Mm.
So they can utilize this. Our phone time explain to the customer
Right.
daily usage, and it takes a lot of phone time, and we have customers coming in constantly, and that can avoid a lot of that time when the customer can actually go in on their app, the internet, and actually look at their usage day by day, hour by hour, and get an understanding. Now, as far as like presenting them, maybe we can set up a day or a computer or something, and we can invite, citizens in so we can demonstrate for them over the phone. We can show them that way. Just getting the word out is basically how we're going to start this. We got to start from somewhere, and then we'll build up, and the neighbors can talk to each other and, go from there.
We could probably do it.
Yeah.
Something on our website. The company, I don't know, they may have, these programs are pretty straightforward, they're not overly difficult. You bring up your address, it basically has your water history on it.
Right.
It's got your days. It's not overly complicated, but.
Right.
I don't know that the portal itself has a screen, with that would be something that we set up in house through a phone video.
Thank you. So it would save time for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Time is money.
Oh, yeah. It's just building that, technology, and a lot of people don't like it, but it's something that's going to help a lot and tremendously. And annually, I think we're looking at 20,000 annually.
I wanted to just comment on that. I'm actually looking at the quote. I'm sorry.
Okay.
So the question was asked what the total amount would be for 2 years. I took the total amount from year one, subtracted the implementation fee, but added the year 2 maintenance fee. So year 1 would be 48,775. Year 2 would be 38,775. To answer your question, Mayor Pro Tem, I believe you asked, was a 2-year total of 87,550.
So,
Would you move to 2 years?
so I heard that we have approximately 8,400 billing water bill cycle meters out there in the city, right? But you're only getting 7,500 licenses for this. I mean, shouldn't we get the opportunity for a license for everybody? And then what is our plan to implement as our growth is coming in? Because we know that there are developments being planned, there are houses that are being planned to be built that are gonna have water. Are we gonna just say, no, you can't get a license, or wait until they get there and then ask for another license form?
Certainly. Well, first and foremost, first of all, great question. This is a situation where if people have multiple meters, they'll be able to use just one license. So for example, we have folks that have more than 1 meter that'll allow us to maximize that amount. Also, we always have the ability to add more licenses should we need to. That's always an ability that we have garnered with the vendors should we choose to do that. So to answer those questions, and lastly, the average participation in programs like this, when you first roll it out, is usually a third. You rarely get to 100% usage. There'll be folks that may or may not want to use it. We've known that from sharing information with Center Point in Texas, Mexico, with some of their kilowatt usage programs that they have. Everybody doesn't use it, but it's a service that we provide.
Rick, I wanted to drill down on something you said, because I don't know that I agree with what you said, the way you said it. So I wrote it down exactly how you said it. You said anything put in the utility fund has to be paid for by utility fees.
Typically, that's a one-on-one, yes, sir.
Right. And you said that. The reason I don't agree with it, it's not because I don't think it's true, but the context in which you responded. Mayor Pro Tem asked you, in his words, if we would be able to absorb this, right, into our utility fund, this cost. And you said, we can't absorb anything if anything put into the utility fund has to be paid for by the utility fund. But then later on, you just said that you told Melanie that this is something that is already put into the ground. It's already been paid for. It's already ready. Let me finish.
Okay.
This is just the next level of the service, right? So he's not saying that we're absorbing this. What he's saying is we're paying for this out of this account, but this is the account that we pay our water bills into. So this is part of our water service. This is part of our water delivery service. And so he might have threw us for a loop by saying absorb, but in actuality, this is just the continuation of a service or the extension of a service, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's why I'm having a problem with it. We are potentially extending water service, and we pay for water service. So to suggest that we would somehow have to raise fees or add more funding simply because he used the word absorb, I don't agree with. I think that we're already paying for water service, and I think that this is an extension of that water service, if you can get what I'm saying.
Yes, sir.
So I'm going to ask Gus, did that sound?
That, as I understood it, I want to be clear. Utility bills could be used to pay for this. As I understood Rick, what Rick said is y'all paid for the hardware.
Right.
Now you're paying for the software.
Right.
Right.
But
it's all in the guise of all of this is water service, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Absolutely. 100%.
Because when you said that, that's a controversial issue. So I knew the mayor would come back and.
I was trying to add clarity.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the utility fund, anything we do, whether it's fixing water lines or offering better service or whatever, basically are paid for because it's a user-based fee mechanism.
Right.
So everything
Exactly.
Eventually is paid for
Right.
by the users. I mean,
Right.
That's. I guess
Thank
my-
you.
Well,
I mean, admittedly, and even Venetia brought up the fact that right now there's a certain amount of staff time dealing with customer service issues.
Right.
If customers had the ability to do that, that staff time would see some reduction,
Exactly.
right? So
Right.
could you save a whole person? I don't know. That's probably way out of my, but
But we get it.
yes.
Rick, I want to follow up the important problem. Number one, Marque does not have a separate enterprise utility fund. We do not. So we do not. Number two, to follow up on what Mayor Bell is saying, historically, it says, you know this because it was one of the first things you came up. The utilities have been underwritten by our general revenue. Okay, we've mixed and supported them. Miss Turner's here now. She knows that as our new finance person. So in the future, as it stands now, unless there's a separate, which I advocate for, a separate enterprise utility fund standing on its own, that's what we're continuing to do. So conceivably in the third year, the city could absorb the cost again in terms of this particular service over here. More importantly, what I do want to say is that I don't think that we're ready to I mean, personally, I'm not ready to vote on this tonight or take action. I think it's worthy of a plan. What are we going to do? How are we going to pay for it? There's some very legitimate questions as to the number of users in year 1, year 2, further on. I'm questioning what that agreement is. But part of this too also comes back to one item which I've been really thinking a lot. I mentioned it briefly to Cessa. Is this whole issue when we put in the smart meters in this community? It was not because we were going to save us, the water users, anything. It was the city was saying we're losing money, we're losing water.
You're exactly
it had
right.
nothing to do with the residents and the users. I know you weren't here, but it was all sold on that, it was all sold on that basis. Right? And I don't recall if, I guess the cost ultimately got in, but I know we were told, come hell or high water, you're gonna have a new person coming and they're gonna put it in and that's it. You know, it was basically, that was the approach on that side. I don't want to take that approach on this. Honestly, that method of that heavy-handedness. But what I would like to do is what to have, and I want to have this conversation because you were going to come back with us with some suggestions and we're going to discuss it, is in the context of water loss, when we have water leaks, what's our adjustment policy? Update that.
That's
because you know
that's on the agenda tonight.
Okay, so but I want to, those I think should all be combined in the same discussion. Because I thought about this, and you tell me if I'm wrong in saying this. There was, you know, both of you, well, there's a leak on my street, actually my house, right? Called you guys, you responded when you had that moment. Just so happened there was a leak on Vaucher, so they were in the neighborhood. And he immediately, and the fellow very quickly said, identified the leak was on my side. No problem. No problem. And so I got it repaired. And I started thinking about it. If there's going to be some additional fee I'm going to have to pay, well, I did it before when the freeze, so I can do that. Not everybody's in the same financial situation I'm in. That's number one. But speaking as someone who is on a fixed income, as a fixed income, we have 30% of our residents on fixed income per the census, is that I would like to know that I'm not going to be absorbing some future costs from my income that I receive on a monthly basis. But beyond that, Rick, you responded to me when we had 60 leaks that day in the city of Houston, I mean, in the city of Lamarck, I guess when it rained or something. When we have leaks, we only try to respond or deal with or cut off the water if necessary on those that are the major ones. All the other ones, we let the water flow. We let it flow until we can get a team out there. And I said to myself, you know what? Ultimately, you know who's paying for that? And this goes along with the similar to what you said. You know who's paying for that? The user. It's me. So I'm getting paid for leaks that I have no control over. And then, but the only reason you're coming after me on my water bill is you know where I live and you have my account information. That's the only difference. Because 10-1, if I was sending a bill to CESA and you for the water leaks that occur in the city, there would be a bunch of more motivation to get those leaks fixed because you're not going to pay them. So that's why I say I think it's worthy of a fuller discussion in terms of when a water leak happens, how are we as a city with soul, with still passion, with a heart, how do we live together as good neighbors to deal with that situation? And then in the second level is how do we deal with these enhancements that can occur, which I would support, right, in terms of what we can do better. But I think, as I said, I'm not looking to take any action personally tonight on this.
Yeah.
Well,
On either.
one of the things to capitalize on what you're saying, sir, is certainly this program is only a benefit for the customer. There is no benefit for the city.
Well,
Because we already
tend to
have
agree
the
with that.
technology. You know, the technology is running all the time. It's running right now.
Right.
You know, it's what these meters are reporting every 10 minutes.
But the flip side of that would be, since we have the technology, we'd have to hire another person or two to sit there on the computer all day long, just monitoring accounts
right?
to see anything that would pop up, right? That would be the flip side of that, if we were not going to do this.
Right.
And if I can, there was a comment made by the company saying that they do have some training that they could share with us and that we'd be able to share with our public. Mayor, like if I can, it seems like the direction is for us to continue reviewing this and bring it back when we do some of the rest of the ARPA appropriations, I believe. But we did want to oblige by the fact that we were told to bring this item back, have a full presentation on it, and then we could whatever
Absolutely.
extra direction we get.
I will add, I'll say this $87,000 price tag is a lot. It really is. And so again, I want to drill down and make sure that we clearly understand if it is that much money, why wouldn't we have regular residents a part of this initial demo program, right? Because those are the people that are going to be able to green light this in the community for $87,000. That's important. We need regular people that live in our community that have paid their water bill consistently to help us to understand exactly what this program can do for us before we vote to expend $87,000 in whatever form we would vote to spend it.
Certainly.
Any further discussions about this item?
One thing that I want, because there, the one thing that bothers me sometimes about our city is that we're so slow. And because we know we're not gonna have another meeting this month, we have to, and we've just heard from our department heads that it would help. They are overworked, they're tired. And so I don't want this to become, because I've seen it before with this council, that it'll become a 6-month ordeal. So whatever you bring to the next meeting, make sure that it's concise, that the information is there so that we can make a definite decision. And I just think that's fair. We don't want this to go to later on when they're basically telling you they need some help. And I know I'm getting phone calls too. And if Rick has already said that it is a customer benefit. It's a customer benefit. So let's do what we have to do to finally, can we just compete with our surrounding sisters? So I want Lamarque to lead the way. We should, and we can. So let's make sure that when we bring a presentation together, that we have everything. If we know that Joe's going to ask 50 million questions and ask all that, let's bring them so we can have it, so we can make the decisions. Good God. Okay, thank you. That's all right. I love you, Joe.
Any further discussion on this issue? Sounds like Mayor Pro Tem is going to make a motion to table.
Yes, sir.
Is there a second?
I will second it.
For public knowledge, we cannot discuss motion to table, and so we will vote. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Item is tabled. Item 7.6, it looks like. Resolution number letter R-2023-0084, approving a contract with the Texas General Land Office for Community Development Block Grant, Regional Mitigation Program, GLO contract number 24-065-011- the letter E 168 in the amount of $4,165,500. Mr. Garcia.
Yes, Mayor, thank you. I'd like to take a moment and also recognize our friends who are here from the DLO. We'd ask them to come forward should any questions be asked. This was a opportunity that we applied through the CDBG grant. We've already accepted the ceremonial check. We've already come forward. We've already slated where the work is going to set to take place, which is over in District D, 2 of our areas where we have the greatest need, where we do have a lot of these leaks. And we're excited to report that we have a contract in hand and would like to seek your approval for it. And if Ms. Melissa would like to add anything.
Oh, I'd just like to say thank you for your patience. I know that this has been a long time coming. You guys have worked tirelessly with our staff back and forth on some of these contracting. I'm not going to call them issues, but there is always paperwork and there is always more asked of the city, and your staff has been wonderful to work for and work with. So thank you, Cesar, for keeping us in the loop and keeping everybody together to move things forward. We appreciate it, and we're ready to go whenever you guys are ready to go.
For the record, Melissa Washington, General Land Office.
Yes, and I'd also like to introduce, for those who may not know her, Stephanie Davidson has joined the team servicing Galveston County and some of the cities within. So if you see Stephanie at some of the meetings, she will be here to help whenever I am pulled in 800 different directions. There's a lot going on in Galveston County, and Commissioner Buckingham realizes that. So yes, we are here for you guys whenever you need it.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
So this is a $4 million grant that will improve the water deliverables in the eastern portions of our city, District D.
Yes, sir.
Council, do we have any questions for Ms. Washington for Caesar or for Rick?
No, I just want to thank you, Melissa, because you and we met years ago, and we know how tough this has been. This is why it's important that people stay involved with their government, because the ones that really push and make those calls are the ones that get it done. And sometimes in the past, it's taken Marque a while, as we did with our 2017 bond. We finally got that done in 2023. But one thing about you, when we called, you were right on it. So I so appreciate that, because we're really trying to make sure that when with all the changes that GLO has had, they know that this council will get on the phone and call. So I really appreciate you being an advocate for us and with all the different grants that we've had to apply for. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the praise, but I will have to say that you guys have been great sticking with it and going through the process, because as long as we have all of our boxes checked and everything goes in accordance to plan, you guys can complete the project and you can use its services and not have to have that audit come back, things to go through the books, to have all of them. Because the thing about these very large grants is that there is a lot of oversight on them. And we appreciate the thoroughness and the patience to be able to get it done right.
And just Mayor and Council, I'd like to remind us all, this 4.1 million is in addition to the previous allocations made by the GLO of approximately 70 million.
You guys have reaped the benefits, if that is an awful thing to say from Harvey, but the allocations that came this way are being put to great use for your aging infrastructure to be able to be more resilient. So everything that you guys have gone and sought out, or allocations that have come through the HGAC mods have been put to good use for those specific areas in your town.
And I just want to take a moment and just recognize Miss Melissa specifically, because on any time that we call or reach out, she's been available. She understands our need. She understands the actual demand that is on our system. She's been very responsive to her and her entire team. So we're thankful to work on this project and hopefully many more to come.
Very good. Council, do we have any further questions? I believe we are at entertaining a motion.
I'll move that we approve resolution R 2023-0084, approving the contract with GLO.
Is that second?
Second.
Any further discussion? There's a strong second from District D. Any further discussion? Here now, we'll call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We're at item 8, city manager report. A submitted report to update council and the community on the standard operations of the city. Report can be acknowledged as a whole or discussed at the pleasure of the council. Council, do we have any of these items that we'd like to pull or to have a discussion with Mr. Garcia with, or would we like him to go line by line? It's your pleasure, council. Sounds like no one wants to chime in, so let's, Mr. Garcia, how about we question you on the areas that we would like to have clarified?
Mayor, thank you. Actually, I wanted to get a chance to highlight a few of these because they are of significance. And if we can go in order, item 8.1 talks about our monthly stats for the library that we've been grown accustomed to seeing on a monthly basis. 8.2 is our streetlight improvement project. As you remember, we've launched this project in a 3-phase approach. First approach is changing all our lights to LED. Second is adding lights along our collector roads through some of our dark spots. And then stage 3 would be to come back and then do some of the residential lights. So what's in front of you is currently takes through how many lights we have, which is roughly 1,100. This plan calls for adding, correct me if I'm wrong, Rick, 1,500 new lights approximately that we're adding. So more than double what we have now. And approximate cost is $1.8 million over the stage of the amount of time that we would have. We intend to be very aggressive on grant funding to get this done. But Texas to Mexico and Centerpoint have both commenced phase 1, which is changing over to LED. The third and final phase would be to add to lighting in some of those neighborhood roads. And that part is still part of the project that we need to bring back. We have gotten some calls and requests for lighting in certain areas. We are adding that to the study and sharing that with our engineer to make sure that we add those to the final study. We want to provide you an update as to where we are on that, but we are happy to present that to you. We'll be bringing this back through the CIP as well. Which takes us to item 8.3. I wanted to acknowledge the fact that we were asked to put together a list of all the city needs. We will adhere to whatever is adopted. This was just a draft to show you what we're working on. Also, hopefully for when you have time, when we come back with the ARP allocation, if there's any of these items you would like to address at that time, as long as they're applicable and expendable through the ARPA appropriations, if you would like to adopt this CIP. The idea is the CIP for the items that are or are not funded. If they're not funded and we continue to want them to stay on the list, and we carry them on through the next year. The idea is to have a 5-year plan so that we do have our marching orders as to what grants we're going to pursue, what projects we're going to go after, and what order and priority that we're going to give them. So this was more of a taste for us to have over the holidays of some of the things. If you feel that we missed some items that you'd like to see added, then certainly please let us know so we can add them and then bring them back for the final adoption of this plan. The idea would be to, adopt this plan annually, each year, whether through whatever month that you so choose. But the idea is to have this as a living document of the things that are on our menu as to what we are looking and forward to hunting. So as is a best practice to do that for all of our projects. The basis of it was infrastructure. We did focus on infrastructure for both sanitary and our regular water lines, as well as some of the other options. This list was compiled by all the different departments and what the needs were. I'd be remiss, was there feedback on anything so far?
Just quick question. How much of a percentage of the city has been done from a standpoint of streetlight improvement?
Do you have that percentage handy, Rick? You mean switching to LED, Mayor?
I mean, actually having the lights any street light that is operable and working. How much of our city percentage wise has been redone?
We're between 30 to 40% is about right now. Possibly a little lower.
30 to 40% as to we've switched to LED. But if you're asking how many are currently working,
I just want to know how many streetlights are currently operable percentage wise in the city.
right? I think
Are there 80% of our streetlights working?
Right. We don't actually have that kind of data.
Can we get it?
I can try to source it out. I mean, it would change any given time, but right now we have roughly, I think, 40 lights in the system. Texas, New Mexico is trying to change out, kind of move to LEDs within 15 days is their policy. Sometimes we find that they might be taking a little bit longer. So once we report an outage, which an outage could happen today or happen tomorrow, right? So those continue to happen.
Right.
So we replace like 300 and I want to say 350. I don't have that data right in front of me, but
You would be able to share with us that we possibly could possibly have, for example, 55 to 60% of the street lights in our city operable. There is a fluctuation, right? Street lights go off and get repaired all the time. But could you get us to a place that we might be able to, within reason, understand where we are?
sure. I could give you something. I mean, if I had to try to give you a number right now, I've got to tell you that probably 80% of the lights are actually.
You think
working.
80? Could you give us some more concrete?
Yeah, I don't think.
Yeah.
We'll bring that back.
Because I know when I first got elected, we did the light study.
Yeah.
So that information, DM, what's our?
Yeah, that's part of the
Got it.
report that we presented.
Yeah.
Then you did
Yeah,
present that
should
update.
have that
And this
information.
analysis that we're talking about tonight are actually new lights that do not exist, new poles, new lights that are in
Yeah.
places that we need additional lighting.
Oh, okay.
And the
So
maps
the only
should
thing
show
we're
you.
working on right now, which we refer to as basically a phase one of this lighting plan, is basically a change out of existing lights, both proactively. We've done some streets proactively. We did all Bayou, we did Cedar, we just finished Magnolia, Westward, Lake. So those lights were not out.
Yeah.
We purposely changed them to
Right.
LED.
Right.
We didn't.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I
So
get
then
that.
we
Yeah.
also have the outages that come in through our police department is our main reporter. Because the night shift has been doing a really great job as reporting street lights that are out when they're on duty.
Right.
So we give that information to Texas, New Mexico too.
Yeah.
And that list is always changing. I mean,
Right.
there's always more lights.
Yeah, and that's fine. I just like to get us in a ballpark so that we would know
Okay.
where we are as a community. That's all. I also wanted to ask you, well, not necessarily ask you, but I wanted to go back to A3. And I wanted to say that I believe that capital improvement plans should consist of infrastructure improvements and equipment that will be used in those infrastructure improvements. And so I look to see a package that will talk to us about streets and drainage and stormwater and wastewater and things of that nature. Sidewalks in some of those troubled areas and pieces of equipment that will help us to maintain that infrastructure. Those would be the things that I would tend to look at if you're asking for feedback about this capital improvement plan. Long-term, true infrastructure, sustainability is my understanding. I know that we spoke a little bit about some of the other things that one of the other residents that spoke, some of the things that were in there, and I tend to agree with infrastructure more than anything else. So that's what I have on the first few that you have. Council, do we have any questions for 1 through 3?
1, 2, 3.
Yeah, Caesar went through the third one and then he asked for questions.
Yeah, just so we can have a starting point.
Yeah.
Oh, of 8.1.
Yeah, 8.1 through 8.3. I'm sorry.
No, that's
Proceed, Caesar.
Thank you, Mayor. 8.4 was the reports that we promised we'd bring back on the Republic discharge. So this is the first 2 months of usage. That is what has been included in that report, along with the revenue collected or expense, excuse me. I think one payment came through. I'm still waiting for the second one, but just to show where we are with that, we wanted to be transparent in sharing that information. We said we'd come back with it. We'll continue to come back with it. And we'll also be sharing the information on the city's website should anybody have any questions. That was 8.4.
They didn't exceed our limits.
No, right. They have not exceeded our limits, not only in the testing or in the discharge amount. Now, we do know that we had some more rain in, let me see, the months would have been November. So once we have that information, we'll bring that back and include that as well.
One of the things I would like to add is, as you remember, one of the main topics that we had with discontinuance of that service was copper.
Right.
They've had one out of all the tests we've seen since they've been discharging back to us again. We've had one come back with very low levels of copper. 0.17 parts per million, extremely low. Everything else has been non-detect. There has not been any copper in their water that we've detected, and they're sampling weekly, right?
Thank you, Rick. The update, I see that our partners here are still here from the GLO item 8.5. That is your regular quarterly update. We promised we'd bring you back the quarterly items. That is your regular quarterly update report on that. Should anybody have any questions? We'll also be sharing this information on the city's website for public consumption. Not only is it on the agenda, but also be available there on the city's website under our capital improvement page. We'll continue to do so. The highlights of that is the fact that we are getting these projects going. As you know, West Lawn is already on its way. We intend to be done with that project no later than March. And we also expect to launch 2 of these projects within Q1. So we'll be scheduling some groundbreaking here soon. We'll invite GLO out to come out once again and proceed with those projects and making sure that we're living up to the expectations and the requirements of the grants, but also following through with our commitment to be fiscally responsible and timely with getting these projects done. Item 8.6 and 8.7 are your regular reports. We were asked for some data to come back. You'll see these reports on a more regular basis coming through our Public Works Department. 8.6 is more of an annual summary of what fiscal year 2023 finished with. And items 8.7 is more of just what October was. Wow. We're hoping to have a regular reporting of this. We're working better with our KPIs to get that information working. So if there's no further questions, we can stop there when we go through the next batch for any questions, Mayor, if that's okay.
Yeah. Council, do we have any questions for Caesar as it relates to item 8.4 through, I think you took us through
8.7.
8.7?
Yes, Mayor.
It's, okay, Public Works. I want to get this clear if I'm reading this right. For the period from 10/1 of 22 to 9/30 of 23, you've only repaired 300 potholes?
Hold on, Mayor Pro Tem, let me get to where you are, please. Can you say that again? On which one are we talking about? 8?
It's on the
8.6 thing.
300 potholes.
Those were work orders driven off of customer requests. I'm gonna see if I can find. There was an email attachment. We actually track potholes. Most of our potholes that we do are proactively fixed. But we fix potholes in every district, in a different district every week. Every Wednesday we're out fixing.
2023.
Yes, sir.
2000 for
2020. Thank you, sir.
Okay, see, 2000.
And I'd like to just comment on that specifically. Over 2,316 were ones that we received through Request Tracker. So the public is doing some by letting us know of some, but we as a department, as a team, are also going out and taking care of their own as we're going out and checking those districts.
So the little asterisk on this report is that these are issues that have been reported by residents. Is that accurate to say?
Yes, sir.
So this doesn't really reflect all the work the Public Works has done. These categories. For example, I was interested, I saw manhole repair, only 6 for the whole year.
Yeah, we actually do not repair a lot of manholes as far as replacing or fixing, doing a lot of manhole work per se.
Well, manhole, maybe I'm getting them. What was one of the grants is for replacements of
Manhole. And we haven't gotten there yet. That's why the project is coming up.
All right. So. Okay, well, I think that maybe our report needs to be
Yeah.
Okay.
a little bit.
We will detail it. It's our first.
I appreciate, on the categories. That's great.
Rick, let me ask you this. How long have you been in Public Works? Just in general?
30 years.
30 years. What I would like to see is some sort of report from you that would recommend to this council the direction that you think our Public Works department should go. Because you have a small department and there simply are only a few things that you can do consistently and do well with the department your size. And I want to make sure that this council has the opportunity to focus and streamline our Public Works resources to do what we do well so that we can identify whatever resources there are to handle the rest of those obligations that we have. In other words, if we repair potholes well, and we do that better than anything, then we should focus on repairing potholes. If we do 2-inch line repairs and replacements better than anybody, we should focus on that as well. So there are probably about 3 to 4 things that your department does extremely well. And then there are other things that we don't do so well that in fact might distract us from doing what we do well more consistently. Does that make sense?
Sure. Yes.
And we can't do it all. We're not a large municipality. So at some point, Caesar, I'd like for this council to have that discussion with you, with this Public Works Director, with our Public Works Department, so that we can streamline our services. So that we can actually be more efficient in what we do. Not saying that we do a bad job. I don't think that we do a bad job. I'm just
You
saying.
can always do better.
I'm just saying if we focus,
Right.
I think that we can make more of an impact. Any other questions for?
My only comment is, next year on some of these, can we have, projects still outstanding? So it doesn't look like we completed more projects than we started because there were outstanding projects from the year before. Like, sanitary sewer backup, 803 projects started. We completed 814 of them. The math doesn't work out that well unless we had an outstanding project already.
That was a carryover probably from the year before.
Right.
And on that particular one, we don't backlog those. So
Right,
Those,
but I
those,
just-
those are treated as emergency, right?
Got it.
Right.
Got it.
Any further questions for Mr. Garcia and the staff on items 8.4 through 8.7? Hearing none, Mr. Garcia, 8.8.
I'll start with item 8.8. I want to just give an update on the heavy equipment operator update. I know Aaron's in the back. We have provided a revamped job description that's gone out. We're pushing it out. We're getting applicants. We will be having interviews here shortly to see if we can get a better equipment operator in hand. In the meantime, we also have made a recent hire who has shown some promise and training on the Gradle itself. So we're very hopeful that he continues to progress in that matter, and we'll be able to provide you an update on that. But we wanted to tell you that we are progressing rapidly on that. HR is extremely reached out. We've got applicants coming from up to 2 hours away that are just moving to the area. The hope is that I think that by us increasing some of the salary that we're able to offer that position, we've enticed more people to apply. So we'll continue to provide that. And our hope is to have somebody hired here before the end of the calendar year, unless our in-house person continues to do a stellar job, or if we're able to do more than one, then that's what we'll proceed with.
So let's deal with this one individually.
Yes,
Have you upgraded the salaries of the heavy equipment operators? Because this council
Yes.
expended $75,000 to your administration to do just that, so that we can get a heavy equipment operator. Has that salary adjustment taken place?
Yes, sir. The salary adjustments have taken place for our current staff and also for a lead heavy equipment operator position that we're hoping to bring in to operate the Gradle.
What is that hourly wage for the lead heavy equipment operator?
Is it 22 to 24, I believe is where we're starting? Thank you. That's the starting rate that we expanded on from what it was before.
Is that competitive? Is that a competitive rate? Because if not, we're spinning our wheels. What's the competitive rate?
The competitive rates right now range from 22 and up. I mean, we've seen some that are astronomical.
I want to
But
say it was 30, from between 29 and 30. It's competitive.
we've
One of the things that we need to take into consideration is the area that we're in. One of the, this is Aaron Hoosier, I'm the HR coordinator for the city of Lamarque. One of the things that we need to take into consideration is the area that we're in. We're looking at apples to apples, oranges to oranges. We are going to see an influx, especially in this particular market, because of the fact that we're dealing with refineries. For municipalities, we are middle range where we're at. If not more towards the higher end when it's looking at the municipalities, at several of the city surveys that we've conducted and also that we have access to.
and Mayor, if I can, on that particular item, that's the starting range. We do have the flexibility to bump higher if an extreme candidate comes forward. We're not going to lose a candidate because of funds. At this time, we have been lucky enough to get a really good applicant pool now. And based on how they do and how they prove that they can handle this machinery will dictate where we are.
Yeah, see, because I have it I hope this works out for us because there is an issue that's being talked about throughout our city as it relates to this grade all. And this grade all is tied to our ability to secure trained, educated, effective, and efficient heavy equipment operators. Let's go back. Is this time where we need to go back? Let's go back. So here recently in our community, there's been a discussion about a grade all, new grade all that we bought a few years back. And that in that discussion, it has been said that we purchased a grade all to use it 7, 8, or 9 times a year in the community, rightfully so. Needs to know exactly what the issues are surrounding that grade all and this heavy equipment operator's position. So let's go back. Let's clarify a few things for the public. The city of Lamarque has 3 grade alls.
Rick?
Let me finish. It's going to work out for us.
Okay, sorry.
We have 3 grade alls in 2023. One of them was a 1987. Here it comes. 1987 grade all. The other one was a 1989 grade all. And if my math is correct, the 1987 grade all is about 26 years old. And the 1989 grade all is about 24 years old. Somewhere in the summer months, if my recollection, this council agreed to put both of those up for auction. Now, that leaves us with 1 grade all. That grade all is fairly new, a couple of years old. The reason we have that grade all is because I believe in 2017, we were hit by Hurricane Harvey. Y'all remember that? Hurricane Harvey flooded all of our houses. And the immediate response to Hurricane Harvey flooding all of our houses was that the council of that year, I was a part of that council. Bobby Hocking was the mayor. Chris Lane was a council member. Casey McAuliffe was a council member. Robert Mitchell was a council member. That council agreed to and directed city staff to organize a 4-person team to use this new grade all to go throughout our community to redig ditches and to clear easements so that when the next storm hit us, we would have a chance at not having our houses flooded. And that crew, that 4-person crew, was to work on our drainage system every day. And that is the truth of that plan. Now, I believe it was 2020. We had a pandemic. 2021, 2022 area of time, we had a rollback. I believe the council at that time, I was the mayor on that council. The council at that time, I believe, allocated 4 persons for that grade all to be used. And that budget was rolled back. And we had to cut about $800,000 to $900,000 out of that budget. Those 4 persons were part of that, right? So here we are with this grade all. And the 4-person crew that was envisioned by this council to use this grade all to clear and clean our ditches and our easements, they're gone. So this council and the council previous to this council directed the city manager to get a heavy equipment operator to work that grade all. And so that's where it stands now. We did that through the $75,000 that the council allocated to the city manager so that he can then bring salaries up to a place that we can attract heavy equipment operators, get this grade all back in service so that we can continue to do what this grade all was bought and brought here to do, which was clean ditches and clear easements, because the next Harvey, we don't want to flood. And so I said all of that to clarify why we have a grade all. I said all that to also clarify that there was never a plan for this grade all to be used 6 or 7 times a year, 7, 8, or whatever the number was. It was always planned that this grade all be used every day to improve the storm water system this city has, the system of drainage ditches that we use and we desperately need to hold up in the times of a storm.
And Mayor, thank you. And we're comfortable, confident the fact that we were going to get somebody here soon, very soon. Don't want to state a time frame, but here very soon, where we'll be able to move that grade all on a regular basis.
I think if you move it past $24, that's just, and make sure that you're utilizing TWC, because then you can go through the whole gamut, and you might want to call Derek to tell him the urgency of the matter and that we need someone ASAP, because they will make that they will expedite it for you, you know, when you have that relationship. I used to work there, I've seen them do it, but you have to call as a city manager to say, listen, we need this ASAP. And it may be, you know, because this is something that it's long overdue. And,
Absolutely.
And I say this as a warning, because the city of Dickinson went through the exact same thing, and they were warned about all of that in 2017. Matter of fact, my husband wrote a letter in April of 2017. And then when Harvey hit, they were unprepared. And I want to make sure that our city, because they're saying it may be our time this year, we want to make sure that we get that done.
Yes, ma'am.
If I may add, one of the things that I would like to talk about, a direct impact that this council has made on this recruitment process is by giving us the opportunity to add more funds to this. It has substantially increased the talent pool. Right now, we are sitting at 57 people who have applied, compared to 2 months ago, where 2 to 3 people were applying. We are continuously to the point where even now, also on Indeed, we have even more people coming through. So the good news is, and there is good news here, we are getting candidates. Is there opportunities? Absolutely. Is there an opportunity for us to fulfill the will of the council, but also the will and the need of the citizens of Lamarck? Absolutely. And that's what we're going to do.
Good job.
Thank you, guys.
That's a good number. Yes.
Thank you.
Mayor, we will get this thing working.
Absolutely.
And actually, as was directed during the budget cycle, as soon as this person comes in, we are going to actually absorb, not to use that word again, but absorb an actual 4-man team to actually within our public works staff to get that crew into motion. It may lack in other places. We'll have to be efficient with what we do, but we cannot, to Councilman Yancey's point, suffer should something happen. In the meantime, without a grade L operator, we started that operation till we have one, and we'll continue being as efficient as possible to get that moving as fast as possible.
Also, another thing about that grade all, not only does it clear and clean, clear ditches, but it also, my understanding, if you change the attachment, it also then can become a tool to pick up heavy brush, also seen in storms, right?
Yes.
Rick? Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. You can proceed to item 8, 9, Susan.
That's just, I sent it out via email, but also just to let the public know, we were granted through the NRPA, their Shaper grant award notification. We were granted, that is a training grant for us to train our seniors and start offering some exercise for our seniors through this program. Amy, her staff, and myself sat through the kickoff call last week, and we're excited about the opportunity. Once we commence training, finish that, we'll be able to start going there and start hitting our milestones. So we're excited about that opportunity. So more to come on that. The communications plan, what we have that we provided in the packet was a draft of our communications plan. I wanted everyone to take a moment to look at that. It is a preliminary draft. We do know that we need some more direction on that, should we want to go that route. So I'd ask you guys to please take a look at that. If you all don't mind as a council, so we can fine tune that plan and then hopefully adopt that plan moving forward. Nowhere on there does it talk about anything yet about staff and additions and what we're doing. We want to first focus on what we're doing, and then we can attach resources to it. So if that's okay, if there's any questions on that, we could chew on that and then bring back a final when we're ready to adopt.
Just
yes.
an item. I'd like to get some clarity. It asked in the past, you weren't here, but I've never gotten a response. We have this municipal access channel 16, and that is for what service? Is it a
Comcast?
Comcast. So AT&T and these others, I used AT&T, aren't they also obligated to provide such a?
No, they're not.
Huh? Oh, they're not? Oh.
You brought it back.
Oh, okay. So it's just Comcast. There's not an equivalent on that. Are they, is the Comcast required to provide our residents access to space if they wanted to do a show?
No.
No? Okay, very good.
Thank you. Next item talks about our employee diversity report. We were asked to bring that back. We wanted to show and reflect the fact that our diversity in the city overall is definitely pretty close to being respective to our city's population. And in doing so and in presenting that, I want to tell you that we're going to continue making sure that it's even more relevant and more respective to the public safety side as well. We have some things that we're working on that specifically that we'll bring back to you when it's ready to launch. Item 8.12 is our November sales tax report. As is custom, we just bring it to you every single month for review. Next month, we will bring you December's report. As was mentioned, item 8.11, excuse me, what is that? My Roman numerals here, 8.13, thank you. The mosquito machine update. As was mentioned earlier by one of our residents, the mosquito machine is outside. It's sitting in the back of a truck right here in front of him. I would like to take a look at it. We did purchase it. It has arrived. It is here. It's no longer fictional. So thank you to both Ms. Christine and for Rick for allowing us the opportunity to get that here as soon as possible. I am happy to report we have 3 people that are taking the course to be certified, one of which should be ready for testing soon, and the other 2 hopefully here within the next 15 to 30 days. May be ready to take the actual test. So soon we'll have 3 people certified to start providing that service so we know exactly how to do it. More details on that to come. Last item that I have on the manager report is item 8.14. I can't believe we have this many items, but we are intending to apply to the All-America City. Attaches our letter of intent with some of the programs that we're highlighting. To my knowledge that we have never applied to this. As you know, the All-America City is the highest honor that any city could have. We are pursuing it. It is a very tough competition, but one that we're looking forward to applying and learning more about what best practices we can still work on. This is through our partnership with National League of Cities, and this was something that was brought back through our time at both TCMA, ICMA, and TML. They were all part of that process, and we were invited to apply. We received a personal invitation to apply, and since I wanted to share with you the fact that we are applying and pursuing that. And that concludes our manager report. If there's no questions on the next chunk of items.
Council, do you have any questions on the last portion of the manager's report?
No, I'm just glad that we're applying for that. I think we need to apply for more city awards so that we can actually narrate and tell us our story as a city of what we're doing well here. So thank you for that.
Got to be in it to win it. Thank you.
Very good. Caesar, that was a lengthy report. A lot of things that you covered. And so we're moving in the right direction on your reports.
Thank you, Mayor.
9 new business items presented to council for discussion and possible action. 9.1 abnormal water consumption. Discussion, possible action regarding updating the city water adjustment policy. Looks like Venetia.
I want to take a moment and highlight the fact that this was something that was brought by council for us to bring back. And I believe the council assigned Councilman Ross to work with Ms. Venetia on this together. And it was brought to me and I am 100% behind it. And I want to thank you guys for the support to get this done for our residents.
Absolutely.
Ms. Venetia. Any questions for us on what's presented as an example?
Do you want to give us some brief opening remarks, Venetia, and then we'll see if we have any questions?
Sure. So what this is basically, I updated the policy for abnormal water consumption adjustments. If a customer has abnormal water, meaning if they have a leak or things of that nature, they can apply for a one-time adjustment. That's our current policy. So what I did was the current policy was under like 1996. It was very outdated. So what I did was just get examples from the surrounding cities to get an idea of what, ours should be or what I should include. And I came up with, instead of receiving a one adjustment, to get two adjustments per 12-month period. And then instead of doing a 6-month average over normal water consumption, I'm doing a 12-month average over your normal water consumption. In order to apply for an adjustment or to be qualified is to be double over your normal 12-month water consumption. So if you have a leak, or if your normal water consumption is, let's say 5,000 gallons a month, and you have a leak and it's, let's say 20,000 gallons, then you will qualify. Okay. Just little things like that I updated the policy, and I gave examples of what our current policy includes and the proposed adjustment policy that I wanted to bring to you. The current adjustment policy, by doing a 6-month average over a leak that the consumption was 56,000 gallons and the normal average of this resident was 2,000. It only took an adjusted amount of $228.96. Their normal bill was $634, and it brought their bill only down to $410, which is still a significant amount for them to pay.
Rich, can I just stop you right there? We're also sharing the example on the screen for those at home or in the audience that would like to see. The first page that we showed was what the sample of the bill that she's going over. This page shows the old policy and what it would have looked like. The next page, which was also in your package, will show what the new one will look like. Sorry to interrupt you, Venetia.
Okay, no, that's fine.
So page one is the old, or it's our existing policy.
So page one of this document takes you to the bill that would have been over. So this is where the customer noticed, hey, there's a problem with my water. I don't normally use this much water, and you can see by the other months that are shown it. The second page, Kyle, if you could just move it up a little bit, is what that person's adjustment. If they came forward and said, hey, here's my consumption, something crazy is going on with my water, this is where it would have gone.
So it would be $150.66 off for water and $78.30 off of sewer. Total adjustment amount would be $228.96. Their new bill amount is $410.64, which is it's still high. Under our current or proposed policy, I'm sorry, doing a 12-month average of their bill and calculating it under our new rate, the water adjustment would be $285.59 taken off, and the sewer adjustment amount would be $130.80 taken off. Total adjusted amount $416.39, leaving their new bill $223.21. Which I think is a lot better and
closer to their regular bill right there.
And this was just for sample purposes, obviously, but we wanted to show an actual bill and what that would be in the situation. We blacked everything out so no one could see who it was, but it shows you what their average consumption would have been, which is closer to the average of our city, between 1,000 and 3,000 gallons per month user. So that person's bill, instead of being the 641 that would have been due, it would have been closer to their normal amount of roughly 223.21 should you choose to adopt this policy.
So part of the theory with this was, depending on where the leak is, if it's just purely outside, we're not even worried about how much water is going into the sewer because it's not going, it's going into their yard. If it's in their house, it's gonna be closer to the just a double, right? This is definitely an outside leak. I know from personal
Oh, yeah.
experience of one that I had. So when my water usage, and that's also the reason for the 2 month, because my leak happened right after the billing cycle. My first bill went from 1,000 gallons to 9,000 gallons. I was like, whoa, what happened there? And come to find out I got a leak. So it was the next billing cycle by the time I got it fixed. So I had 2 months there that needed to be adjusted while they were fixing that. So we, as a city, are taking a small portion of the responsibility because we don't have stuff like the portal. Our system doesn't automatically say, hey, this person's using 100 times more water today than it was using yesterday. And that gives us a little bit of responsibility and still requiring the people that have the problem to have responsibility of the bill also.
Council, do we have any questions for Renisha or for Mr. Ross?
I do ask that the applicant must change the name of the applicant, that we emphasize that this adjustment is made available to the account holder. Okay. So that's to say, we've got people who perhaps are renters or things of this nature, or family members, and the account's not in their name, and they're coming to ask for adjustments.
Oh, absolutely.
I want to just make sure that we're very clear for the account holder, because I don't want us to be blamed or you to be blamed for being cold-hearted or something like that.
Right.
You know,
Absolutely.
it's the account holder.
Does
Does that make sense though? I mean, I'm just.
It does. It makes
that
perfect
makes
sense.
complete sense.
We are still requiring receipts for these adjustments, correct? If in fact there's a leak, they get it repaired, they go to Lowe's or they call a plumber, we turn those
Right.
receipts in. Okay.
Right. Correct.
And then that triggers this,
Yes,
right?
that is correct, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes.
That triggers, that's not what I'm reading here.
Actually,
No.
excuse me, I take that back.
No,
The completion of the form when they come forward and say that. So they'll call
Uh,
and say, hey, my water bill, what's going on? What happened? If there's no other way of finding out beforehand.
Right.
They then come forward, our staff lets them know, well, if you have a normal usage, this is the form that you would have to complete. At that time, we educate them on, please complete this form. And as you notice on here, you need to bring your receipts, or if you did whatever the case was would be.
Okay.
And that's what is on there as far as what is necessary that they need to bring.
But what I guess what I'm asking is, once you get the receipt, that's when you do the other.
Oh, yeah. I have
yeah.
to get
You get what
the
I'm-
form, the receipt,
Before the adjustment is made.
before the adjustment's even made.
Okay.
And you have to apply for an adjustment, no later than 30 days after the bill you received the bill.
what if I'm doing my own repairs?
Well, what I've been doing, if you do your own repairs, because a lot of times that happens, they'll have to buy a part, they still have receipts. But if not, then I'll have them write a statement saying, what was your leak, where was that, what day you fixed it? And what did you do to fix it, and sign a date at the bottom.
Okay, so you accept
Right.
that. All
'Cause a lot
right,
of times that does happen. They'll fix it. They'll say, oh, I just fixed it myself. And-
that's right.
Right.
And since we can, I'm sorry, Mayor, if I can.
Go ahead.
Since we can track consumption, we could also verify whether the actual leak has been remedied.
Right, and that's what,
Sorry.
a lot of times we'll look in census and we can tell if that leak has been fixed. Just like a toilet running, we can see if that leak has been fixed and there's no more high usage after that last bill.
Vinesh, you said earlier, just in your statement previous to this, when you said something to the effect of when they don't have receipts, that there is a whole process that you use,
Yes.
right? Which is great. That sounds brilliant. My question to you is that a process that is memorialized in any of our policies and procedures as an entity? Because it's a great idea. We just need to memorialize it and make it official, because when you win the lottery,
Mhm.
right?
Right.
Whoever replaces you, they have to have something to go by. Yeah. Can we do that? Can we get that done?
Absolutely.
Oh,
you know,
absolutely.
But that's a great idea. I like that.
Yes.
And normally with that, Mayor, they also, if they had to go buy parts or anything to do it, they also would include those receipts, not for the plumber, but for if they had to go to Lowe's or Home Depot, whatever. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And normally, I don't know if this will be over your scope of, but unlike fixing a float valve inside a toilet, if you've got to fix the pipe between your meter and the house, you're supposed to get a permit to do that. I do believe, because that is construction on that.
No,
I know when I had to do mine, I had to get a permit.
no,
I was to dig the trench out there.
no.
No?
That's awkward. Can someone clarify whether or not we need a permit before we misguide the public?
It depends on what the repair would be and what it would keep, and we will have to come back to that and find out what types would require that.
Okay, so it's not a black and white yes or no?
It is not, no.
Okay. Council, we have really discussed this item 9.1. We can continue to discuss if you like, or we can move towards some sort of an action. And I will at this time entertain a motion. Again, on 9.1, I will entertain a motion.
It's the ordinance number again.
I'm just giving you my train of thought here. I'm reluctant. I'd like to hear citizens get back to me on this policy before we pass it. That's all. That's all on my observation is on my part.
So one more time.
I think that, hold up, I think they did that, didn't they? We've had several people to come before us and talk about a policy. My concern, Gus, is the liability. This is an okay thing. This is something that other cities have. I've never.
Other cities have, I mean, as Venetia has already said, other cities have rate adjustment policies. The city council has the discretion to come up with one. And
it won't leave us in any type of liability, anything like that.
Well, I mean, no more than you already have. I mean, the policy itself doesn't sound very discretionary. You bring what you have, you bring receipts or you don't. It's more of a check the box, less of a, oh, let me think if this really counts. Does that make sense? So.
Because I've heard from residents, so I'm ready to take action on it. When it comes to, you and I have talked many times about the issues with the water, the infrastructure, all of that.
So you are currently adjusting water bills right now.
Currently.
Under the current policy.
I mean, you're already doing it, right. So I guess, council, I'm at loss a little bit as to the hazard. Here we are.
And maybe to follow up on Councilwoman Yancey's question, not to cut y'all off, but y'all are free to amend it again. Does that provide further guidance here about the liability?
Yeah.
If you don't like it, the
No,
council is
I'm
free to
fine
amend
with it.
it.
I just want to be, be sure, because I wasn't here when they had the other one. Things change. I know. I just want to make sure.
So my only question is, since I worked with her on this, do I actually vote or should I recuse myself from the vote because I worked on the policy?
As long as you don't have a financial interest or a conflict to declare.
Roger that.
And the council asked you to represent us in working with staff. So you're good. You're good. I am looking for a motion.
I make a motion that
There's a motion?
that
Well,
we.
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm getting sleepy.
I think we're all sleepy. Go ahead.
I'm looking at Mr. Former Councilman Olsen. How do you do it? I make a motion that we accept this policy as it is written.
The second?
I will second this policy, the motion.
Is there further discussion?
Just to clarify.
Go ahead, Joe.
Is this a policy or is this a resolution?
It's a policy the council would be adopting, and Councilwoman Yancey is making the motion to adopt the policy.
So do we follow any sort of identifying system for policies? No?
No. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? 9.2, virtual meetings, discussion possible action regarding the continuation of virtual meeting participation via Zoom. Is that Kiera or is that Caesar?
I can take this one.
Okay.
Previously, I believe earlier this year, March or April, we brought this item to you all just to see if it was something, allowing virtual participation in the meetings was something, the council still wished to do. We were asked to bring it back again after about 6 months, and we're just in that time frame where is it something that you would like to continue? Other cities are, moving away from it, but some are keeping it. It's honestly a council decision. So we just wanted to know how to proceed as we move forward.
Okay. Well, sounds like we had we did not have virtual meetings before the pandemic.
No.
And the pandemic brought on virtual meetings. Many municipalities have phased them out as life has returned to some semblance of normalcy. Some have kept them, and you're asking us, what say we? We use Zoom meetings primarily for the Zoom portion of our meetings, primarily for the contributions of those interested parties that will assist us in deliberating and directing municipal government. Does that go away if we end the policy?
Just for clarification, your question is regarding like our partners, like when our financial advisors and, no, that does not go away. The only thing, and Gus, I'm gonna kind of look to you just to make sure that I'm, correct. What it would remove is virtual, council participation. You guys would be required to be here in order to participate in the meeting.
Council? Let's open this up for discussion.
Now, I personally like it. I think it helps with attendance. Because most of us here are professionals and but I would kind of like to hear from staff.
Well, let's hear from the council. Do we have any other thoughts at this point?
About virtual.
I'm supportive of keeping it. I think that it provides us an opportunity to it actually permitted this city to keep operating at one point when we had less than the full number of members.
Right.
And so I think there's a purpose in having that as an option. Zoom is an option.
Any other council members?
What does this do for citizens that want to speak if we get rid of it?
If we get rid of it, there are multiple options that they have to speak. They can either speak in person, they could submit their comments in writing beforehand and have them read into the minutes. There are other avenues that they would have to make those comments to you all. There also, but those would kind of be that. It wouldn't, like I said, it wouldn't take away the ability for our partners to come in, but it would be council and citizens participation that would be effective.
I think I'm kind of with Mayor Pro Tem there that at this moment in time, especially with all the traveling stuff that we've been known to do, Miss Yancey, Mayor Pro Tem going to different councils and meetings and stuff, that it's probably better that we leave it at this moment in time and revisit it maybe in another 6 months.
So you want to keep it in there and revisit it in 6 months?
That's kind of what I think is what we should do at this moment in time.
And one reason, Mayor, why I said access staff, because I know it does, we're battling social media. Because you're out there and you know, you do have a way to control a little bit better when it's in place, right? You know, online always adds a lot of spice, you know. So that's how I wanted to talk to you all, especially JB, who has to kind of deal with that on the regular when it comes to combating some of the negative talk that you get. So basically, if we got rid of virtual meetings, then you would be you would be unable to do the YouTube live as well, or no?
No. We would still live stream our meetings. We were live streaming our meetings prior to allowing participation virtually.
Oh,
So those would still be streamed on YouTube, on channel 16, through the app, the website, all of that. It's just the virtual interactions that are in question.
oh. Thanks
What,
for
what,
that.
what sort of liability might we find ourselves in, Gus, as relates to council member conduct or comments virtually, or even citizen conduct and commentary virtually?
Is there a specific incident?
Well,
I mean, I guess the council, when it hosts a meeting in person, has to make comment, it has to provide a public comment forum. The council, and as Kiara said, they are free to submit written comments to Kiara or myself. We'll distribute them. If the council is not hosting a meeting via Zoom, and by hosting a meeting, I mean the entire meeting, then the forum is here. The forum is not everywhere. Does that make sense? I mean, could someone sue us? Yes. We're the government.
I guess, let me ask you. Yeah.
But you have provided a forum which you're required to do.
Let me
in
ask you
public with the mic.
Let me ask it differently. If the council wants to continue with this practice, I guess I'm asking you from a legal perspective, is it your recommendation that we look at policy and procedure around this practice? Because at this point, it was adopted because of a pandemic.
Right.
And it was loosely, right? It was a loose type of a system because we were all in a pandemic, right? But now that we're out of a pandemic and we're looking to keep it, should we also craft policy around it to make sure that it is providing the opportunities that it is designed to provide, and nothing more? Right?
Absolutely. Yes. I would agree that yes, 2020 was a very different time and place, but Zoom I'd never heard the word Zoom before March of 2020. And so, yes, would policies and procedures along what these meetings looks like, what specifically, and even if council wants to tell us, hey, give us by a certain date, like set it up via Zoom because I'm going to be at. Right. Absolutely. We can put that into writing and bring that to y'all so that everyone is familiar, because you're right, Mayor. Right now, the policy and procedure is essentially call Gus and Kiara, and then the open meetings laws.
Right.
So
call Gus and Kiara and Joe can say, I don't feel like going to council today. I'm going to whatever street he lives on. He's just going to be at his house, right?
Right.
So we really need policies and procedures on how we're going to implement this and the expectations that we have, not only of each other, but of our community members as well.
Right. Exactly.
Okay.
So do we come?
I will entertain a motion. Whether it sounds like, according to discussion, council wants to continue this policy. Well, it's not a policy yet. Continue this practice.
But I think we need to create a policy. I think you're absolutely right.
Let's entertain a motion to continue, if that's what you choose to do, this virtual meeting participation.
I make a motion that we continue, but I also would like at the next meeting to have some policy and some input on that policy.
I'll
that-
second that.
Any
That
further,
motion.
any further discussion, council? Hearing none, we'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? 9-3, G County Hope Toy Drive. 9-3, G County Hope Toy Drive, discussion possible action regarding consideration of city support for the 10th annual G County Hope Toy Drive giveaway. And there they are. I was told that we have representatives here. Welcome, gentlemen and lady. If you would, for the record, give us your name, and we know that you all are with the Hope organization, but we definitely need your name for the record.
Okay, can everybody hear me?
Yes.
My name is Daryl Davis. I'm actually here on behalf of Keith Henry. And I'll be reading a prepared statement that Mr. Henry, Commissioner Henry had prepared. And then colleagues will have something to say.
Okay.
Okay, so hello and good evening, council, and thank you for this time. On behalf of Keith, Commissioner Henry, he gives us warm regards as he has business and also to attend to. Before we get started, Commissioner Keith Henry would like to remind city manager and the council that the Dallas Cowboys will indeed win the Super Bowl. Let's just start there. Okay, on the reason why we're here, before this distinguished body, the G County Hope Foundation hosts a toy drive every Christmas Eve. This will be our 10th anniversary, providing toys to the underprivileged and underserved communities throughout Galveston County. Notably, each member of the G County Hope Foundation committee contributes a substantial amount of their own funding from $250 to $500. Tonight, we're asking council support and match on our efforts from your discretionary funds. Thank you.
How y'all doing? City council, city manager, how y'all doing? My name is Robert Hockley. We actually started this toy drive in 2013. I started this toy drive in 2013, right before opening my business here in Lamarque. I have a business in Lamarque. It's called G County Apparel. It's right across the street from Lamarque High School. We've been in business here in the city of Lamarque since 2014, right? So as we enter our 10th year of this toy drive, we just want to come before this body and speak and kind of explain some of the things that we have been doing, whether you all heard of us or not. Ms. Yancey, she has heard of us, and a few more people have heard of us. Well, with this toy drive, I started with another business owner who's in Texas City, Carla Smith. And what we decided to do 10 years ago was to provide toys to the entire Galveston County. Of course, G County is abbreviation for Galveston County, right? So we just wanted to include Galveston, Lamarque, Texas City, Hitchcock, and Dickinson, where we go to underprivileged areas in each city and pass out toys to the extent of like $25,000 in toys, because we have the cities helping us. We also have toys from TOTS helping us and things like that. And you know, it's very hard doing anything consistently. So 10 years is pretty remarkable for us, right? And for our resources as business owners. Well, Miss Mary here, you know, along with another business here on Pit Stop and Snow King, decided to join us last year and do some work with us. And what they noticed was that our last stop, which we considered Lamarque, was actually across 1765, right? Which was started at the Food Right, and then we moved it to Carver Park, right? Still within the Texas City border. So Pit Stop, Miss Mary, and Snow King, they offered a proposition to us to present it before council and be able to move this Lamarque stop that we say is a Lamarque stop and do business and bring it here to the city of Lamarque. She has suggested bringing it here to right here, right? To City Hall, because in each city, we have a representative from that city that does it, right? And she has been our representative and she wants to move it right here. So she has proposition that I come in and kind of give some details and explanations about the toy drive and what we do. Y'all have computers in front of y'all.
Mhm.
It's called G County Hope Foundation.org.
You said G County Hope Foundation?
Correct, .org. ORG. We are a federal acknowledged 501c3 company. And like I say, we've been in existence as a toy drive since 2013, as an organization since 2017. And I like Ms. Mary to speak now about some of the things she need this.
Good evening, everyone, council, mayor. Most of y'all, of course, y'all know me here, but yes, I'm wanting to bring it to here, right here to Marque. So last year I didn't realize Carver Park was Texas City. So since I'm hosting it, I've gotten together with, right, that fine line. Gotten together with Pit Stop, Greg from Snow King, they're willing to help, give cocoa, and we're gonna serve the hot dogs into the community. I know last year at Carver Park, we had at least 100 children, families coming out there, had the Grinch, had a real nice setup, and it was only like a lengthy time of like 4 hours. So, yes, I am looking forward to having crafts, music. I think I did give y'all a proposal from the last month. I should have that, or JB might have that. Santa's with pictures with Santa, and I have the Grinch again. So I'm hoping I can get your support. I want to bring it here, live for Lamarck. I know, congratulations, Ms. Leyva. Of course, I'm a resident Lamarck for 18 years now. So I'm looking to do good, positive things. So these guys here are great. And this is my third year. Actually, I did first one was in Galveston, then Texas City, and then this will be my third one participating. And just the looks on the face, no registrations required. We just, get out there. They're going to see things going on, stop in. I think the drop off here is going to be 3 o'clock. So it's an amazing sight to see when you see this, wow, these toys we line them up and sand them out.
And it's just a community effort. Again, we have a representative for Keith with Texas City, right? Me being a resident of Galveston, but having a business here in Lamarck, and Ms. Mary being a resident of Lamarck, and also being a member of the LULAC committee. Right? So it's just a community effort that we put together, grassroots, right? Just to give some hope, and we kind of say that in our mission that, you can go so many days without water, so many days without food, but you won't last a second without hope, right? So our thing is to provide hope for people, and we come on December 24th. People ask us all the time, why so late? It's like, well, being from this community, being a child that was raised on people giving back, right, and being part of this program, we know by the 20th, everybody that gave out their toys, everybody that did what they had to do, everybody is attending to their families, right, and making sure that things go straight. So we wanted to come on Christmas Eve, which is our 10th year doing, and just make sure that the kids wake up with a new toy that they got a day before, a new bike that they got a day before, a new game that they got the day before, just to relieve some of the parents of the guilt of not having, or the stress of not having. Right? And that's our goal, that's our mission. And like we said, we've been here for 10 years, and we're now just showing the work and here to reach out to the city to see if we could begin a partnership or anything like that.
Well, we certainly want to thank you guys for your efforts in the community. We want to thank you all for this organization. And I'm open for us to consider how we might be able to help our children, because at the end of the day, they are our children, right? And so it takes a village, and we know that to be true. Let's do this. Let's see if council has any questions for this group. And then I'm going to ask Gus about our ability to legally participate in this, and if so, what capacities we might be able to participate. So let's open this up to council. Do we have any questions for these?
Mayor, just for clarity's sake,
right?
What you're asking of us this evening is to waive our permitting fee and another fee, right?
I think we
Is that
already
what-
did that.
We did that already.
We did that already.
We did that. Okay. All right.
So basically what you're asking for is somebody to be here Christmas Eve and open up the building so that you can
Well, that's all I want.
And any discretionary funds that
Right, that's
y'all
what
might
they-
want to contribute to it. Yeah.
So,
I don't think you're gonna need the actual building.
No.
Not the
it's gonna
inside.
be-
the parking lot,
outside,
Just
yeah.
the parking lot.
And maybe
Okay.
the restroom.
perhaps even, okay,
I think I've
okay,
already
parking lot.
talked to parking lot.
And discretionary funds. So the parking lot, in my experience, might, is definitely something that the council can allow for usage of, for definitely a good cause. The question that I had for Gus is the idea of discretionary funds, if there are any, and could those funds legally be used in this instance?
Sure. So, first question, notice, it's noticed, for, the consideration of city support. So support is financial. That's a definition of support. As far as, city funds being used for a public purpose, yeah, if city council finds that a public toy drive is a public purpose and benefits the community as a whole, that's within y'all's discretion, then there shouldn't be a huge issue with that. As well as I know in the past, some of you have done, your discretionary funds as well. So
Right.
all three of those options.
Right. I was gonna say, each council for benefit of the public and for council. Every year, council allots itself $5,000 per council district to do things for their district for the good of the order, things of that nature. Some of our council members have chosen to donate to different causes that involve the youth. That's one of the things that Gus is referring to. The second thing that Gus didn't refer to that I'm going to call to our attention is the fact that we receive monies from waste management
That's correct.
that are earmarked for youth. They cannot be spent or expended on anything other than youth activity, programming, and things of that nature. Those are the two options. One is, in essence, taxpayer money. That would be the council discretionary funds. The other is a donation given to our city for the purposes of assisting our youth. And so those are the two areas that we would even, if there was a consideration that we would have to consider from. But let's back up a little bit and see if that's something that the council would even want to consider doing. I'll open it up.
And just for the regular, the age for the toy drive for newborns to 12 years old.
Okay.
Very good.
And also, I just want to add, it is going to be for the city residents, youth as well, because we don't actually put a flyer out there on floating around on social media. It's basically me getting out here early, telling everybody, which is a busy street right here, come on out, bring your children. Or I have a lot of contacts in our city that I will be sending out direct texts to remind them about that.
Very good. James, I'm sorry, Kim. James, you want to say something?
If y'all need, because I saw something about the guy in a red suit, if you need help with that, please let me know. Right?
You're down.
Right. And knowing that it's Christmas Eve, if I remember last year, it was cold, really, really cold.
We volunteer for this.
Get with me tomorrow. I'll go talk to Angela and see if we can do over at the VFW to at least to get y'all the hall. That way you're inside, got some heat. It's still in the city of Lamarck.
I don't mind.
So, because I'd much rather it. Last year was nasty on Christmas Eve. I remember quite well. With my pipes busted.
Kim, did you want to?
First of all, I know you guys, you all are grassroots community organizers that love children. And I just thank y'all for being here. And you represent parts of District A as well. So I didn't know why y'all were here. I was like, oh, they're doing it. Okay, I get it. So, yeah, you stayed because you were so busy. I appreciate you being here because you have done a lot in Galveston County as far as for our community, for the students of the Marque. You are the go-to guy. So I am honored that you were here before us tonight. Mayor, what did we spend that money on last year? Did we get a chance to spend that money last year?
It was
On Waste
to
Management?
It's
The
a part of the
internship program.
Oh, went toward the internship program. Okay, I was just, I don't have, that is a very good program. I came last year and I mean, and I've never seen the line so long. And I know now with everything that's been happening this year with the economy and inflation and all of that, I can imagine it's going to be even more people this year. So I'm definitely in support of this program because I've seen it work. And I agree with you. We can give some of that
Yeah.
from waste management. That'll definitely bless a lot of children.
Council, do we have any other questions? My recommendation to council, if we choose to, my recommendation would certainly be to allow for this outfit to be a part of our, to do business on our parking lot. If we choose to expend funding, I would, just to make sure that there is no heartburn in our community, I would recommend that we would do that out of the youth fund, the money waste management donates instead of taxpayer funds, just if you can get what I'm saying. Because everyone may not agree with this, or maybe they may have different ideas on how to do this. So let's not use taxpayer money if we can use a donation. That's my thoughts on it. The floor is open again. I will entertain a motion.
Caesar, clarify something for me. The waste management amount goes, I thought it was Bayou Fest. What was it?
There is a portion of it. There's two donations. One goes to Bayou Fest. One waste management donation goes to Bayou Fest, and then a smaller portion of it goes to the youth.
Oh,
So they donate for two purposes.
And historically, we've used that for the internship program. Just, I guess, since before I got here, that's been the only use to date that I know of today.
I never.
How many kids have, how many children did you all serve last year or total? Do you think how many kids have
Well,
you?
on an average, we're doing anywhere from 50 to 100 kids per stop, right? So we're not asking specifically for amount. We're really just asking to do business with you all.
Yeah.
You know, letting you all know that, hey, that the city does support this in some capacity, right? And the city does, you know, send funds to help out, right? So we're looking to give away 600 toys at this location to 100 families. Each family is probably like 2 kids per family, right? And that's what we're looking to do here on Christmas Eve.
Yeah. I will entertain a motion, council, to allow for the usage of our of city facilities for this toy drive. And I would entertain a motion to use funds from the youth donation. And we're not talking about a lot of funds. We don't have a lot of money. Upwards to council, we can do 500, we can do $1,000. It's up to you as a council. But again, my recommendation that it comes from the youth donation portion of waste management's donation. I will entertain that motion.
I make a motion that we use the funds from waste management in the amount of $2,500.
That's do you want to add the use of the facility?
I think that's already here, right? Is it already?
Oh, you want to add that to that? Okay.
That's
So
already.
So you're making a motion to approve what's already printed with the addition to making a donation from the Waste Management
Right.
Youth Fund of in the amount of $2,500. Is there a second?
I will second that.
Is there any discussion? Does anybody have any heartburn with the amount of monies? There's no further discussion? If there's no further discussion, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Item 9.4. That's it, guys. You all have
Thank
the
you, guys.
permission to use the parking lot, as well as the council is going to donate $2,500 from our youth donation fund to bolster you all's toy drive.
Well, I thank you all very much. Also, promote, let your constituents know, have them come out, and if y'all can't be out that day. It's a great day. We have Galveston Daily News, we have I-45 News, we have great coverage on it. They're very familiar with it, so if y'all have the time or not, just promote it, get the word out and let them know. It's 3 p.m.
3 p.m.
3 p.m. on Christmas Eve.
On Christmas Eve.
Please see Mr. Garcia, and he can make sure that all of what we just did for you guys, you all will be able to receive it.
All right. Thank you.
All right, guys, thank y'all.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 9.4, memorandum of agreement authorizing a memorandum of understanding with the Galveston County Health District for first responder reporting of naloxone in use of suspected overdoses.
Yes, Mayor, this item is just for us to be able to work with the Galveston County Health District to keep reporting any use that we have so they can track their data. We needed a MOU to get this done. Naloxone, as many know it, is Narcan that is utilized to hopefully prevent any type of overdose situations. So this allows us to freely distribute the product, but as long as we continue to provide that data back to the Galveston County Health District.
Any questions?
Yes.
What?
So is there any way that we can get data on how many locations have it available? That we can get that out to our constituents so that they know if something's coming up? And two, can we also quarterly get the data on how much is being used in our area so that we can monitor that?
Certainly.
Thank you.
Any further questions? Hearing none, we will entertain a motion. So move. The second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? 9.5, intent to apply, discussion possible action regarding approving submission of an intent to apply document for, is that $10 million?
It is.
State
It is, Mayor.
revolving fund, loan through the Texas Water Development Board.
It is,
Mr. Garcia.
as Rick is walking up, I didn't want to alarm anybody with the number, but we do have the ability. As you remember, you guys asked us to seek out for alternate forms of funding should we want to bring this back. We've done so. We've passed the preliminary phase. We have tentatively been told that we are able to get up to $10 million. This does not say that we're going to go after the $10 million. Does not say that we're doing so. It is a waived approach. So the next phase is for us to say that we intend to apply. The idea is to find out if we do apply and if we were to be accepted, hopefully with this letter of intent that we submit, we'll be able to find out how much we qualify to actually receive. And if so, of those funds of the project we're presenting, what amount, if any, would be what's the word, waivable, if you will, meaning that we would not have to pay it back. So this would be a loan, different from a grant. So part of it would be part of a grant, and then the rest would be a loan to be paid back at extremely low interest rates. So this would be just for us to intend to apply. We are not agreeing to accept any funds. And Rick, if you want to chime in.
Yes, sir. It's a pretty popular program. The city has not used it in the past. Many cities do. I don't have it on my back of my hand exactly how many millions of dollars are actually in this account, but the Texas Water Development Board basically handles the state revolving fund program passed down through the EPA. The bipartisan Infrastructure Act money will also be handled by Texas Water Development Board. Part of that act required a 30% forgiveness on those loans. That determination will be made based after the application is filed. So what we have before you tonight is to approve an intent to apply. We've been invited to apply because the project that we put in for underneath the clean water SRS. So clean water in this world is wastewater and stormwater, not drinking water. There's two separate funds, there's a drinking water fund and a clean water fund. We've gotten an invitation to apply for the $10 million grant or $10 million loan to improve infrastructure to reduce I&I. It goes in hand with the projects that we have with GLO projects. As we've mentioned, the funding that we have in those GLO projects is not enough to do all the manholes and the CIP work that was in those performance statements. There's just not enough money there to do that. So this is another avenue that we can go after the rest of the manholes, do some additional pipeline lining to stop I&I, which reduces flow into the system, stops sanitary sewer overflows, and puts less pressure on our wastewater treatment plant. And as city manager pointed out, that we're not accepting the loan right now, we just have to apply if there's a agrees to do so.
This loan does have interest rate associated with it, or
Yes,
interest
sir.
rates associated with
Yes,
it?
sir. And that depends on the loan, it depends on our bond rating. Some of I went to a meeting last week, the lowest dollar amount I saw was like 197. Generally, it's about 2.25% to 2.5%.
Interest?
Yes, sir, well below market rates.
Rick, I'm kind of confused. You bring up manhole covers again. We had, you had brought back and we rebid the original RFP for manhole covers. And at the time you made the statement that we included all manhole covers that were in newer parts of town. And those were not, it was not necessary to replace those. And that's how we dealt with reducing the amount of manhole covers. Now I'm hearing you say, oh, we need to go back and include those new manholes, those new manhole covers.
So
what's the confusion? I don't
okay, so for
clarify.
clarity, the manhole count we have in the city is around 750 manholes. We, right now with the project that we're doing about 325.
325?
Yes, sir. We did bring up the fact that the manhole count that we have does include manholes in new subdivisions. So some of them are newer manholes. But the majority of the manholes and the ones that we have problems with are not in the new subdivisions.
Well, I mean, that's logical, yeah.
Right.
But to go from, the original grant amount was 700 and something manholes, as I recall.
Yes, sir, that's what's on the performance statement.
And to go from 700 to 300, you're saying that 400 of them are new?
No, I'm not saying that 400, I'm just saying that as far as the funding that we have available to do that project, we had to reduce the manhole count and the pipeline. We had 3 pipeline projects and we're only doing 2.
Why did we have to reduce it?
Because we didn't have the funding through the GLO.
No, when we got awarded funding for the manholes initially, to Joe's point, it was 700 some odd manholes
Yes,
is what was the point he's making.
Yes, sir.
How did that number get reduced from 700 to 300?
May I clarify that a little bit, just if I can? When we submitted the scope of work, it was for the entirety. In this case, it's 750 manholes. At the time that we then got the project, got the scope back, everything was done, the contract was executed. The next phase is for us to get an actual plan of work out and then go out to bid. At time of bid, with the funds that were available at that time, it was only going to be sufficient to do, and I'm doing rough math, about half of those manholes. So there wasn't enough money to do the entire scope, similar to what happened at West Lawn. At West Lawn, we proposed it was going to be a certain amount.
So cost went up.
Cost went up, bids.
Yeah.
Yes, to answer your question.
Cost went up.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
So to Joe's point, or to answer Joe's question, we went from having the funding to do 700 some odd manholes to now only being able to do 300 some odd manholes because the cost of doing the manholes went up in the interim. Is that what
Yes.
you're saying to us?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Well, I'm going to just make this point because I've been there before. We need to do a better job when we submit these proposals in terms of dealing with reality and cost. And we know costs go up. I'll give you a whole book on that. There you have it.
True, and,
You know,
and
so-
as we all know, I mean, unfortunately, especially.
And I know it wasn't you guys, by the
Right,
way.
but
It wasn't you guys. I'm not blaming
as
you.
far as the GLO projects were concerned, we've seen that on both of the GLO projects that we're doing right now. The COVID time certainly drove up prices. These costs were done in 1920. when they were originally submitted, so that's 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And
I knew it wasn't you guys.
Yeah.
And if I can provide similar context for that, if you remember our water line study that was done in 2016 that we presented with for you has rates, for example, for those repairs at that time. Although we know that from 2016 to now, the rates are different, we have to go with the data that we have the backup documentation for. So to fault anybody else or whatever may have occurred, for whatever reason it may have happened, we have to go with whatever data is collected and reported and whatever we have at that time. So that's kind of the situation.
So Rick, this intent to apply, is that an application or no?
it is an application. We've been.
And then
invited to-
they're going to review our application. They're gonna do a bond rating check and all of this, just as if we applied for financing as a person.
Yes, sir. It's a loan through the Texas Water Development Board underneath the EPA funded state revolving fund
What-
program.
You know, in the private sector, when you personally apply for financing, that moves your credit score. The more you apply, your credit score starts to drop a few points here or there. Does that same thing happen in municipalities?
That, I don't know, Mayor. That's a question we'll ask Stifle.
Yeah. Because that plays a tremendous part in deciding to apply, because if we decide to apply and we're awarded, then that's an entirely different conversation with our community that wants us to be fiscally responsible, right? So
Mayor,
don't
if
know.
I can, Mayor, if I can clarify, Rick, I'm trying to find it quickly here in the documentation. After the intent to apply, if it's received and asked for us, then we have to do a formal application. Is that accurate? Or is this the only one? I thought I've read that. I'm trying to find exactly where.
This is an intent to apply, as far as a basic document that we need to get into Texas Water Development Board. The whole purpose of sending an intent to apply is that we plan to apply.
Well, by what date?
December 28th.
That's when the letter, the intent to apply is due. I'm trying to find that.
Because the intent to apply, it's not mean the application itself.
It's, the application would follow up.
Yeah.
I mean, you wouldn't file the intent to apply if you didn't intend to.
but you would still then have to apply.
Right.
Yes,
And would that action
think
be
so.
brought back before council?
Right.
yes.
Yes.
So if we approve the intent to apply tonight, before we actually apply, this council will have another opportunity to deliberate and provide direction. Is that
Yeah,
what you're saying?
certainly the application.
Are we clear in that, Gus?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Because I haven't seen an application of you.
No, I haven't.
No, and what I brought forward was the project mainly would be to complete the rest of the manhole work, to complete CIPP lining of wastewater. The application that we put in that we
If I may.
invited to apply for was
Yes.
for I&I reduction for the sanitary sewer system. I mean,
And-
so that was already sent in as far as seeking out funding requests.
Yes, and the deadline for the application is January 29th at
Thank
5
you.
PM.
Thank you. I was trying to find.
So there's time.
Okay. I was trying to find it to try to get.
So
Thank you.
I move approval
Okay.
to submit the letter.
There's a move to approval the intent to apply, and there's a second to approve the intent. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, we will call for the vote. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? We are now at item 10, appointments, reappointments, or removals from boards, commissions, and committees. Council, do we have any appointments, reappointments, removals from any of our commissions or committees tonight?
I did have in District A, Delon resign. I want to thank her for her service. She was on a part of Buildings and Standards. We want to appoint Beverly Sumlin to that board, the Building and Standards Board. And I,
Beverly,
Beverly Sumlin.
Beverly or Beverly?
Beverly
With
with
a
a
B?
B.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Sumlin. And also, please pray for Eli Johnson, who serves on the cemetery board. He has been ill, and he definitely solicits the council's prayers and community.
Any other appointments or reappointments, or removals? Hearing none, we'll move to item 11, requests and announcements. There are two items.
Are we
Two
gonna vote on the
items.
appointment?
Absolutely.
You're right, you're right. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. Kim. I had a whole appointment. I just-
I was like, I guess we just appointed.
We hardly ever have her. I'm sorry,
Right.
Kim. Do you have her address?
Oh, my goodness.
You don't?
Yeah, I did. She applied and hold up, let me see. I can get it.
Is her application on file though?
Yes.
Yeah, I think she
Okay,
did.
we can move past that.
Okay.
Kim has made a motion. Thank you, Kim. I'm so sorry. Kim has made a motion to appoint Mrs. Beverly Sumlin to the Buildings and Standards Commission.
Second.
This is seconded by Mr. Compion. There is no discussion on an appointment. And so we'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Item 11, request an announcement. There are two announcements. Caesar, the wreaths across America and the pictures with Santa.
Certainly, I want to just take a moment and recognize the fact that our cemetery board is holding the annual Wreaths Across America. It is slated to begin at our cemetery at 11 a.m. on this Saturday. We have a very busy day this Saturday, but I want to recognize the fact that we will be hosting this. More information to come through our social media and our postings. Also want to take a moment to also recognize that later on the same day, we'll be having part of our Mayor Bell's Bridge to Potential, our Big Brothers and Big Sisters partnership of Gulf Coast, Pictures with Santa. I understand that there will be a Santa available from noon to 2 at our library. There'll be different festivities as well as decorating Christmas cookies.
And council, if you plan on attending, if just one more of you plan on attending, please let Kiara know, because there will be a notice of possible quorum, and that should let you know who Santa's gonna be.
Okay.
Either Joe. Anyway.
We will be posting it anyways, Mayor, as we do with all of our city events that we have. We always post it just in case, if it's a city event that we're aware of.
Very good. We have moved to adjournment, but before that, we always allow for a time for our council to make comments for the good of the order, make announcements for the good of the order. And at this time,
Let's start with our newest.
well,
Please.
Melanie.
We can move this direction.
Seniority rules, and so we'll start with Mrs. Allred.
I don't have any announcements or anything. Sorry, I've been sniffling the whole time.
Welcome.
Yes, welcome to.
Thank you,
All right.
Melanie.
Well, then I guess I'll go and congratulate the city manager on his win Saturday. The U.S. Army beat the Navy 17-11. So I'm expecting my jersey from you before our first meeting, extra large, so that I can have my Army jersey and fulfill that. Also, VFW is having a first responder and veterans fish fry this Friday. $8 if you're a veteran, first responder, police, retired, etc. Fire department, please come out, get some food. $12 for everybody else to come out there and eat and have fun. I'll be cooking up hush puppies and catfish. And
what time?
good time, 5 to 7. And then they're having a poker tournament afterwards, try to raise some money. So please come out and enjoy.
Thank
That's all I got.
Happy birthday.
Well,
to
thank you very
Councilman.
much.
Wow, it's his birthday today, and you are
51.
51. Okay.
That is so
okay.
weird. We're all sitting up at 51.
No, well, yeah. My birthday is Christmas Day. I'll be 52. Yeah. So I just want to commend the staff. That was a beautiful Christmas parade. I had so much fun.
Yeah.
We had enough candy this year, and so I loved it that we had more than enough. I've never seen a parade that large in Lamarck since years ago when we used to do the fair in the square. My mom would bring me down for that years ago. So that was nice to see the community unity. Even had the Tech City band in there, and we had Republicans, Democrats, we had everybody. I love that. I love the unity that, we just love our town. And so it was a good feeling to see that. So kudos to this team that continues to take it to the next level every year. I love to see us grow and we become better and better. And some of the comments were very good, and people text me and say, I didn't know about it. I heard about it. So that was amazing. So since you guys are talking about Army Navy, I'm excited to say that UT is number 3. Hello. See, so we're playing on January 1st. So I'm excited about that. And on a good note, yesterday I talked about, I had to say a little talk yesterday in Galveston about resetting. And that the cool thing about ending a year is that you get to reset, look at what the mistakes you made, learn from them, lead them in 23 and get ready to go into 24. So some of y'all won't see until next year. So I'm looking forward to that. And you all have a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year. And I also want to say to Cesar, if we could please get a presentation in the new year with our new code person, because I don't know if we're having a meeting tomorrow. That's something I think we need to really work on for our agenda. And I know Mr. Pillington is here. He and I have talked. We're really concerned about that issue because we want to hit the ground running next year. To our staff, thank you for everything that you've done, and please during the holidays get some rest. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you, Michelle.
Hook 'em.
Hook 'em. I'll just share Christmas blessings to all of us, our families, and go out and have a safe time. That's all I can say. Enjoyable time with your families. That's all.
Thank you, Joe. As I look through the past year's meetings, and I look through the minutes, just in reflection of what has been accomplished this year by this council. I noted that we went from 1 meeting to 2 meetings, becoming more of an open government, hoping to become more of a transparent government, more of an accessible government. Water lines were repaired and replaced this year. Sewer repairs have begun, tens of millions of dollars in sewer repairs. There are today more police officers on our streets and serving our community than we've ever had before. There are more firefighters protecting our community than we've ever had before. Our tax rate was cut by 4.5 cents. I believe that's the largest tax rate cut this city has ever seen. Crime is down, although we still contend with a group of young people who sadly, for unknown reasons, choose to wreak havoc in Galveston County, not just Lamarck, but every city pretty much. But crime is down. 14 to 15 streets have been repaired. There are retail establishments that are opening in Lamarck. There is a whole host of eateries, restaurants that have announced plans to open in Lamarck. Looking back at all that says to me that we've had a good year. This community has had a good year. We have been productive. We have moved forward, and we have positioned ourselves to reap the benefits of a wonderful 2024. Didn't feel like it, didn't seem like it, meeting after meeting, we would vote. But when you add all of those meetings up, you see that this council has represented this community, and we believe this was a good year. I'm looking forward to next year, looking forward to serving our community, looking forward to working with people throughout our community, building coalitions, trying to seek answers, and putting Marque first and foremost in our minds and in our hearts. I wanted to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. This year has been rough on many of our residents, many of our friends, many of our community members. I certainly ask that you keep them in your prayers as we contemplate this magnificent 2024. It will be filled with pitfalls and disappointments and all sorts of unexpected challenges, but it will also be filled with perseverance, with courage, with intentionality, with compassion, and with grace. And if we continue along the path that we are currently on, at the end of 2024, we would look back and say, like we're saying tonight, that 2024 was indeed a good year. I believe that with all my heart. I believe in this great city. I believe in let's say that again, I believe in every resident of this great community. I believe that we can do this. And I'm excited for 2024. Council, thank you for serving. Certainly, thank you for allowing me to serve with you. Staff, thank you for another year of sacrifice and service. You are our heroes, and we look forward to a prosperous 2024. There's nothing further. We will, Caesar will allow you to certainly add comments.
Thanks for your continued support. Welcome to our new council members. We welcome this year to the new staff. We welcome to the new residents who keep moving to Marque. To the staff who goes above and beyond every single day. I'm appreciative to them. Happy holidays to all, safe holidays to all. And hope the meeting tonight was a spearhead as to what's going to come. A lot to do.
Sure, not 4 hours.
Well, I mean, a lot of progress being made, though. I mean, I think you look at this agenda.
Yancy, you're getting paid. You're getting paid.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Very good. To 2024. If there is nothing further, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
The second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. We stand adjourned.